A visit to the remote frozen wilderness of Antarctica may not sound like a paradise holiday, but Si's main travel goal in life was to have his photo taken in every continent. With just South America and Antarctica left to tick off, a year's worth of planning and a few sleepless nights saw us finally achieve what seemed impossible for many years of our lives. And we saw lots of penguins too. So how easy was it to travel to this final continent? And is the Drake Passage a scary sea crossing in real life as you read in books and magazines? And can you really do this sort of trip on a tight budget? Well, keep watching to see how we fared.
Well, the Cook's Explored travel budget wouldn't stretch to a full-blown Antarctica expedition holiday, so we took the cheapest Antarctica cruise itinerary that we could find through a reputable travel agent. And the Norwegian Cruise Line itinerary on the Norwegian Star was the best low-budget option that would allow me to achieve my dream. And whilst this trip doesn't allow you to set foot ashore in Antarctica, it does take you scenic cruising to both Paradise Bay and Elephant Island, which was the location of one of the greatest adventures and survival stories of all time, and the infamous exploits of Sir Ernest Shackleton are also an inspiration for me.
So the big day had arrived and our journey to the airport started at 1 a.m. and it was a fittingly cold, icy morning in the UK with sub-zero temperatures. Airport parking was easy and Heathrow Terminal 5 was only just waking up.
Well, I'm proper excited because we're on our way to Buenos Aires. Can you believe it? Wow. So we're here at Heathrow. We've had a bit of a shaky start to the journey because our travel agent hadn't booked us any hold luggage, believe it or not. So when we got here, we were very lucky actually, because the lady on check-in saw that this was a mistake and kindly waived the additional luggage fee for the journey to Madrid, which is the first part of our long journey to Buenos Aires. So this is a two flight leg. We're going to Madrid, then we're going from Madrid to Buenos Aires. It's about 25 hours door to door for us because we set off at like 1 o'clock this morning. But how exciting. We're going to Buenos Aires and then we're heading down to Antarctica. Wow, trip of a lifetime. Bucket list all over. I get to fulfill my lifelong travel goal of having my photo in every continent. Me and Nettie together everywhere around the world. How amazing will that be?
Our first hop to Madrid was a quiet if short flight with British Airways, some breakfast and a few extra minutes of sleep. Our layover in Madrid airport also passed quickly before the 14-hour flight to Buenos Aires.
This journey on Air Iberia was long and tortuous, and made longer by the plane having to divert around a tropical storm mid-flight. Uncomfortable seating, frequent turbulence and scant service from the cabin crew made this feel like an ordeal. But 4 in-flight movies later and less than 1 hour's sleep, the near 14-hour flight ended and we found ourselves in Buenos Aires.
So Si, you're in Argentina. How has the journey been?
Well, we've made it here to Buenos Aires. It's been a long journey. It's been well over 24 hours now, I think. The flight from Heathrow to Madrid was brilliant on British Airways. Really cool, really comfy plane. The flight from Madrid to Buenos Aires on Iberia, that wasn't so hot. Seats weren't comfy, food wasn't great, and the stewards weren't that attentive either. Didn't get much to drink, so quite parched. We'd booked transfers from the airport here to our hotel in Buenos Aires, but our flight was delayed due to bad weather. That was bad weather en route, so we had to take a detour. And that's meant we've touched down about 50 minutes later than planned. Now our transfer has waited for us, but they're doing a waiting charge. It's going to cost us 15 extra US dollars just to keep him here whilst we get our bags and we get out to the taxi rank. What we have checked is that we can actually just get an Uber for like 20 quid into town to the same hotel. So we're not really, it's actually cost us more to book the transfer through the travel agent and keep him waiting here than it would have done if we'd have just booked an Uber. And I think actually in hindsight, we should have just booked an Uber. At any rate, we're here. Hey!
Made it!
And importantly, so are our cases.
So our first money-saving tip is to simply use an Uber for your airport transfers.
We've just met up with Karina, our taxi driver. Now we're just going to head off to the hotel. It's a bit manic here at the Buenos Aires airport and it's 11 o'clock at night. chaos. Anyway, looking forward to some sleep.
The taxi ride into Buenos Aires was about 30 minutes, and our driver dropped us off at the Savoy Hotel. And amazingly, we had booked this opulent hotel at a bargain rate. It is one of the oldest hotels in the city and is still in great condition, with gorgeously sculpted walls and ceilings.
We checked in, found our room, showered, and then threw ourselves into our very comfortable bed. Oh, just what we needed, but not before Si insisted checking which way the water runs down the plug hole. Oh, why did I marry a scientist? It's sometimes amazing that your body doesn't let you sleep, even when you do desperately need it. You look knackered, Si.
Morning from Buenos Aires. It's about 7:30 in the morning, and we're in the Savoy Hotel, which sounds posher than it is. It is quite nice, though, to be honest. We got a good rate for it as well. We've got a nice room. We've got a balcony out there. It's quite noisy. It overlooks a busy street, and it's quite a low balcony as well. So I'm not sure I'll spend too much time on that. But today we've got one day to explore Buenos Aires, and we decided to take a tour with Viator. It's like a private city tour. Cost just over £100. So looking forward to that and exploring what this beautiful city has to offer.
We hit breakfast, which was fine, and picked us up a little, to be honest.
Morning, Nettie.
Hello.
How are you feeling after yesterday?
Oh my God, it's a purely exhausting day. My Fitbit is showing me to have 3 hours and 4 minutes sleep. So very exhausting, not a lot of food. But look where we are. Absolutely stunning.
Very noisy though, isn't it? Look at that
Very
down
noisy. It wasn't first thing this morning though, was it? So
there. Okay.
I'm looking forward to see what we find out today.
We took a quick walk to a nearby souvenir shop before our guide Pablo arrived at the hotel to collect us, and we snapped some tourist-perfect pictures while we waited.
Pablo, our guide, messaged us to say he'd arrived and collected us right outside the hotel. We didn't realise at this stage how much fun lay ahead, but this soon unfolded as we sped across the city, and given this, it seems strange that our first stop was a cemetery.
Okay, we're on our Viator tour. We're in the famous Recoleta Cemetery in Buenos Aires, and our guide has just dropped us at the front gate. We've just had to buy tickets at 16,000 pesos each, and we're kind of left to our own devices to find our way around. So not a guide inside the cemetery itself, but he's waiting for us outside once we get back. And this looks like an amazing place.
It does look amazing.
It looks incredible. The mausoleums here are
Wow,
fabulous.
look at that. Look at that up there.
Okay, what a show now.
Wow. Look. That there. Can you see?
Just incredible. Anyway, we're going to have a wander around here. We're going to try and find the Eva Peron mausoleum, which is, I think, is the most famous one in here. But we'll let you know how we get on.
You can understand Pablo for not wanting to visit a cemetery each day, but the Recoleta Cemetery draws visitors from all over and is famed for impressive mausoleums housing the great and good of Buenos Aires society. But it's a cemetery that houses family burials going back nearly 200 years, and Buenos Aires famous celebrities are interred in their family mausoleums alongside the mausoleums of everyday people. Politicians, actors, and of course Eva Peron are all laid to rest here.
So this is quite a place. I mean, it sounds a bit grim going to the cemetery, but there's cemeteries and there's cemeteries. I mean, this place is fantastic.
Stunning.
Absolutely stunning. The architecture and the way they've done the mausoleum here for the families is just phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. All right, really enjoyable. We're going to move on now and go to the next part of our tour.
Really, isn't it?
Very thought-provoking. And yes, we did get to see Eva Peron's mausoleum. She's buried with her family. Lovely. And there's still flowers on the door now.
There is, yes.
Wonderful. Absolutely wonderful.
Then Pablo drove us through the city past the impressive university buildings and to a piece of modern sculpture that's become a symbol of modern-day Buenos Aires.
The fleur-de-lis mechanical sculpture was designed to open and close in line with sunrise and sunset, with sequenced lights showing off its beautiful shape. However, a recent tornado damaged the sculpture and it has lost one of its petals and no longer opens and closes. Sadly, there are no plans to repair it currently.
Selfies taken, we then headed down to Buenos Aires seafront, where we stopped right alongside a beautiful spot with an impressive pier and fishing club building. The Rio de la Plata, on which Buenos Aires lies, is the estuary of a mighty river with its source in the Andes, and as it meets the Atlantic, it mixes with the seawater, and you can clearly see the sediments carried by the river, giving it the name Silver River.
Next, a diversion to another recreational place and riverside area, Puerto Madryn.
This riverside walk is used by joggers, walkers and those looking for a chilled time alongside a local nature reserve. It's quite a spot with a wonderful view across the river, which is blooming with plants and wildlife.
Pablo said we must try the street food here, and specifically a churri. This locally made Argentine hot dog style snack is rich with flavours, but to get the full effect, you need all the trimmings.
Onion, garlic, red peppers, and green peppers. Don't have green peppers, but it's the same. Green. It's just for the color. And this is chimichurri. This is a mix of different species with oil, some hot water, and vinegar and salt.
So the taste test.
Right, let's try this.
So this is a churri. Go for it, Nelly. It's like an Argentinian hot dog with all the trimmings. Out of 5?
5.
Oh, delicious. Right.
Let's go.
Yum, and we don't want to leave this lovely place. You enjoying yourself, guys?
So we're at Puerto Madryn, and Pablo has just taken us and bought us a bit of lunch. We had a churri, which was really good.
Absolutely delicious. I gave it 5 out of 5.
And what a lovely spot this is as well, just in Madryn, right down by a sort of a river with all grasses in it and a nature reserve over there. This is some kind of promenade where people just come here and relax and chill, and there's street vendors, street food, all that kind of stuff. What a lovely place.
It is certainly a place to sit and chill, isn't it?
Really nice, really nice. I wonder where he's going to take us next.
Right.
Then off to Playa de Mayo, site of the Pink House or Presidential Palace, and the scene of the horrific massacre of where the military tried to overthrow the Perón government in 1956.
Okay, we've been dropped off in central Buenos Aires. We're just outside the government buildings. Pablo's dropped us off here. We just got some time on our own.
This is called the Pink Building, this one, isn't
well, we'll
it?
show you that in a second. We can just show that in a second as we walk around. And then looks like there's some kind of demonstration here from Venezuelan population. Looks like the ousted government leader of Venezuela, who's ousted recently, is in residence with the president of Argentina. We think that's what's going on.
Yep.
There's a little bit of a demonstration going here. Obviously, he wasn't that popular.
No.
But anyway, we'll have a look round and see what. There's a few monuments and things here, and there's a cathedral over the way, and we'll take some footage and try and work out what we can see.
Yeah.
We decided we would deliberately not film any of the protesters so as not to agitate them, and instead focus on the buildings and monuments.
So this is the Pink House that Annette mentioned.
Yeah, and also we were told by Pablo that every morning the Argentinian president, he comes out here somewhere on the balcony and waves to the people.
Yeah, so we're assuming that he's in residence now, which is why there's an awful lot of guards. Oh, there's some ceremonial guards coming out of the door there. Yeah, there's timing. I wonder what they're doing there. Okay, I'm assuming the two presidents, or the ex-president of Venezuela and the Argentinian president, are inside.
And we had timed this right, as the changing of the guard ceremony took place right in front of us.
The monuments in the square are a reminder of the role of conflict in the history of this beautiful part of the world, and also mark the creation of Argentina as an independent nation with its own rights to self-determination. And across the square you can view the huge obelisk down the avenue that also marks this.
And also we took a look inside the beautiful cathedral. Just stunning. However, in a moment of total muppetry, well, you tell them what you've done, Si.
Well, like a complete idiot, I've just dropped my phone, and my phone's obviously still working, but my microphones have broken, so I'm going to be relying on the phone mics now for the rest of this trip, which is not good.
How the phone still works is a mystery, because the phone fell from height out of the selfie stick and it hit the ground with an almighty clunk. But for the second time in a few months, I had broken the plug-in microphones that we use for vlogging.
And, oh look, the guards are coming back.
Undeterred, we pressed on with the tour, and Pablo drove us to San Telmo, where we were able to change some dollars into pesos before wandering into the stunning San Telmo indoor market.
This wonderful market had a real buzz, and locals and tourists alike enjoyed the smells and tastes of all the wonderful local food and drink. Be rude not to taste and try some of this fare, and that's exactly what Pablo had in mind.
And here we sat and enjoyed a local craft beer and some very tasty empanadas, whilst we sat chatting with Pablo, who was such an interesting guy with a lovely way about him, very likeable and friendly and knowledgeable too, and this was a wonderful moment, just like catching up with an old friend.
Wandering through San Telmo was an utter delight, and we stumbled upon an incredible Argentinian tango in one of the squares, something you really can't envisage happening in the streets of Northampton.
show this couple put on for the onlookers, with traditional dances weaved in as well as classical tango. Trips to tango shows in Buenos Aires' many theatres are a very popular activity for tourists, but can be very expensive. But as we found with Pablo, actually seeing amazing dancers showcase this intimate and passionate dance style can be easily found on many streets in this city, if you know where to look for it, of course. Thank you, Pablo.
Time was flying by, but Pablo had one more place he wanted to show us, and before long we were back in the car heading into the famous La Boca area of the city.
And football crazy fans of Boca Juniors flocked to visit the stadium and gift shop. This was some sight, but we didn't stop as our destination was the famous waterfront and the Caminito district with its striking architecture and colourful houses, as well as plentiful shops and bars.
Now a magnet for tourists, it was once a neighbourhood for immigrants looking to make a new life in Argentina.
The atmosphere was buzzing, and this country's football prowess is in your face everywhere, with statues and paintings of Messi and Maradona everywhere.
And even more street tango too. This was a brilliant end to a brilliant tour, and Pablo was the perfect guide and host. But this tour sadly had to end, and Pablo dropped us back at the Savoy. So how did you rate your tour, guys?
We've had an amazing day with Pablo.
It's been fabulous, hasn't it?
We've been to some incredible places around Buenos Aires, and Pablo, got to say, what an amazing tour guide. He is so personable, so likeable, lots of great conversation.
Loads of knowledge.
Loads of knowledge.
And brilliant. Took us to some really brilliant places, and he even took us to find some sort of Argentinian food and stuff, didn't he?
Yeah, and nothing was too much problem.
No.
We didn't have pesos because we just got flew in last night, but he sorted it all out. He paid, and then when we finally got to somewhere where we could change money, we just paid him back. Absolutely quality city tour, city guide. Can't recommend it enough.
No.
And we will stick his details in the description of the video below, because
call Pablo if you come here, definitely.
Pablo Serrani, I think it is. We'll put the details anyway, and you can book him direct. Obviously, we booked him through Viator, so we found him that way, so you can do it that way. But obviously,
do it directly.
It'd be cheaper if you book it direct.
Yeah.
So, do look up Pablo when you come into Buenos Aires and book his tour. I mean, we saw such lovely sights. The cemetery. We went down to the fishing pier. We went to the lovely esplanade where we had that lovely food, that sausage, and all of that.
Chori,
We went to La Boca. We saw La Boca Juniors Stadium. We went to La Caminito with the colourful houses. I mean, we've seen so much. Awesome.
And that lovely market was fantastic as well, wasn't it?
And the beer. So tasty.
Fabulous.
Absolutely fantastic. All it needs now is a good Argentinian whiskey, if I can find one.
They don't do it.
So we'll just have to settle for a decent Argentinian Malbec instead when we go out tonight. And you're right, enjoy.
At this point, our energy levels ran out, and we quickly found ourselves in a deep slumber.
A couple of hours later, we awoke, but wondered whether we ought to take up Pablo's restaurant recommendations across the city. But the evening had slipped by, so we simply wandered from the hotel into the city centre, and then Nettie saw her culinary nemesis.
Oh dear, guess what we've spotted?
Still on a mission to find KFC as good as it tasted back in the 1980s, Nettie's mission has seen her try KFC around the world, and today was Buenos Aires' turn.
Right, I'm trying the KFC from around the world. So, Buenos Aires, what are you going to be like? Let's try it. That's really good. Out of 5. Hang on. I'd say 4. 4. I'll try the chips. The chips are very similar to what they used to be in yesteryears as well. Yeah. Good.
Good? Okay, we can disagree on some things, I suppose. A 2.5 at best for me.
And our mood lifted further when we found a bar filled with locals and enjoyed a rather good bottle of Malbec. Had to be done. With our second wind now also waning, we returned to the hotel where a cheeky cocktail provided a perfect end to a perfect day.
Well, we've had an absolutely brilliant day here in Buenos Aires. We went on our city tour with Pablo Zerini. He was a fantastic guide, really enjoyed that. But one of the lowlights of the day was when I dropped my phone and my phone fell out of my selfie stick and bounced across the tarmac right outside the government buildings just as they were changing the guard. It was, I think, heart in the mouth moment as my phone just literally just went on the tarmac. Anyway, luckily my phone was okay, but I did break my microphones and I was wondering whether I was going to be able to continue doing these vlogging series. But as luck should have it, we did tonight find a little mobile phone shop that managed to sell me a replacement microphone. So whilst it's not dual microphones, it should hopefully get us through the rest of this holiday and we can continue vlogging. So what a day in Buenos Aires, and we're finishing up. We're in the Savoy, we've got a lovely cocktail. So here's a mojito. Cheers, Buenos Aires. Oh, delicious, absolutely great.
And we eventually turned in and had another attempt to catch up on our lost sleep.
Day 3, and this was the day we were due to embark on our cruise to Antarctica, but our embarkation time was 3 p.m, so we had time to kill before we headed to the port.
So after breakfast, we took a walk from the hotel, and a couple of blocks away, we encountered something special.
Well, it's our second day here in Buenos Aires. We've just checked out of our hotel and left our luggage there because we've got to wait another couple of hours before being picked up and taken to the cruise terminal. So we've just come down and having a bit more of an explore. Where we are now is beautiful, isn't it?
It's absolutely gorgeous. Look at that over there.
Okay, let's swing the camera around. Swing the camera around. Okay, can you see that? There you go. That, we think, is the government building, the National Congress, and a stunning building it is as well. So we've just got a few hours here. We're just going to have a wander and then head back to our hotel to get collected to the cruise terminal. Anything you want to do today?
Have a bit of relaxing, really. I'm starting to get a bit tired now.
Yeah, a lot of travelling.
Yeah.
A lot of travelling.
It was a good day yesterday, though.
Brilliant day, though, yesterday.
Brilliant, yeah.
Brilliant day. All right, stay with us and see what we can find this morning. We've just stumbled on the National Monument right opposite the Congress building. This looks amazing.
So this was a really beautiful part of the city, as if it needed any more, and the grandness of the architecture was simply mind-blowing.
We wandered down through the streets on this Sunday morning, and most things were shut. Buenos Aires does have plenty of street art to admire though, and this often expresses the frustrations of the population, and this example clearly demonstrates that.
As we explored further into one of the main shopping areas, some shops were opening and the streets were slowly filling.
We headed around back past the obelisk and towards the hotel, and we stumbled on a particularly quaint tea room called the Black Cat. A notable business within Buenos Aires, this tea room is famed for making its own blends of tea and coffee on the premises.
It's quite a thing, and the tea, coffee and cake clearly needed to be put to the Cook's Explore taste test. We've done a nice walk around the city centre, which was really good, and we've thought we'd come in for tea and cake just before we head off back to the hotel.
Give it a stir.
Wow, this looks amazing. Stir it up.
Can't take you anywhere.
Right, I've got to leave it there to stew now.
What you got there, Si?
Espresso and red fruit cheesecake. I don't remember, preach the forest.
What a pleasant experience, and we were really glad we found this place, and we both gave it 5 out of 5.
Then back to the hotel, and a local beer slipped down nicely whilst we made the most of the free hotel Wi-Fi, and the complimentary nuts were very tasty.
On time, our taxi arrived and sped us across the city to the cruise port, and we wondered what adventures lay ahead on board Norwegian Star. Would this cruise prove as much fun as we'd had in Buenos Aires with Pablo? Well, we certainly hope so.
It was day 3 of this adventure, and we were truly excited to be boarding Norwegian Star at Buenos Aires and start our journey south towards Antarctica.
This voyage, however, would start with 3 back-to-back sea days before we set foot on land again in Ushuaia, but we were ready for some rest after our travels from the UK.
Embarkation can sometimes be daunting, and social media had prepared us to expect the busy and difficult embarkation process. But how was it?
Right, well, we're safely aboard Norwegian Star now, and I have to say, embarkation has been one of the smoothest we've ever done on a cruise ship. I mean, we'd seen on social media that there are big queues at the terminal and stuff like that. Got to say, we didn't experience any of that. We were one of the last aboard, and maybe that's the tip, is just to take the last embarkation slot you can get. But we arrived at the terminal after taking our taxi from the Savoy, dropped us off. We were just whisked straight through everything. Follow me, follow me, follow me. Got a little tag. Got this thing we were expecting to sort of sit in a queue. It said white 5 on it, but that didn't happen. We were just whisked right the way through, picked up our cruise cards, got on board the ship. Really, really straightforward. Found our cabin, then went and did our muster station, which is really, really important. Obviously, you have to do that before you can set sail. And then we went and got ourselves a cocktail, a lovely mojito up on the sun deck. There were some DJs playing, which was cool. And then we had a burger and chips just for a bit of late lunch, which was really tasty. And we had another cocktail. We had a pina colada, which was incredibly sweet, I have to say. It was like liquid sugar. And then we've come back down. My case has arrived here at the cabin, so I've unpacked, and it hasn't. So we're just waiting for that to arrive. But wow, what a really smooth embarkation. Really can't fault that. So well done, Norwegian. Thumbs up.
Nettie's case eventually arrived, and we unpacked in our cabin, which would be our home for 2 weeks.
First impressions of the ship were good. Our burger, which was a late lunch, was also good. We did what you always do on a ship that's new to you and wander around and explore. And the ship was well presented and in good condition.
It was good to walk the ship and get acquainted with what it offers, and an excellent singer was booming out hits in the main theatre as the ship sailed away, leaving the city skyline of Buenos Aires behind. And for our first evening meal, we chose the Aqua dining room.
Just come back from having our first meal and went to the main dining room. I had barbecue pork ribs, which were really tasty, and it came with a pasta salad and some coleslaw and a corn on the cob and what else did it come with? Oh, and some onion rings. Very tasty, but the best thing was the pudding. Creme brulee. I think it was a honey creme brulee. It was absolutely yum.
This was a late meal though, and by the time we'd finished, we were again hankering for our bed, but a late night stroll on the deck in the shimmering moonlight was simply lush. And finally, our cabin beckoned.
Day 4, and this was the first of 3 sea days aboard Norwegian Star, and we awoke early with the natural light from the sunrise pouring into our outside cabin. Just beautiful.
Garden Cafe is the ship's buffet restaurant and was our destination for breakfast.
So the emergency microphone that I bought in Buenos Aires was proving a bit temperamental, but the fried breakfast was, shall we say, adequate, and we were looking forward to a decent fry when we got home. So let's explore some more of the ship and find somewhere to sit and enjoy the sunshine. What you found there, Nettie?
Well, I'm so excited. I found a cruise duck. I was going to bring some cruise ducks, but we read somewhere that on Norwegian that we weren't allowed to bring them. But it's nice to see that some people have just ignored the rules. And I've got one. And it basically says on here, it says 2025 NCL Star, South America, Alabama Cruise Ducks. So it looks like he's come from Alabama. So he's got a nice new home now. We then found the promenade deck, and 4 laps of this lovely wraparound deck is a mile. We ran out of time to complete our mile before we remembered that we wanted to attend the first of several enrichment lectures on Antarctica in the theatre.
The enrichment programme is an important part of this cruise, and this introductory lecture introduced the subject experts and provided an overview of the Antarctic continent, its history and its wildlife, and it was absolutely fascinating. Then a coffee in Starbucks. The included coffee on board is fine, but sometimes it's just nice to treat yourselves. A lot is made about the risk of encountering rough seas on this trip, and so far the seas have been calm, but the ship had a noticeable sway. We wondered what this would mean for the later stages of the trip, especially as we crossed the Drake. Would we get Drake Lake or Drake Shake?
It was a sunny day and quite warm. This felt more like a cruise in the Caribbean than a trip to Antarctica. Sunbathing on the pool deck was in order. Glad we packed the sunscreen.
Well, the sun's out. Lovely. Just sat up on deck here. We found some sunbeds. Bit of reading.
It's actually quite warm as well, isn't it?
Quite warm, yeah. Gonna have to put some suntan lotion on here. I was going to get burnt.
Yeah.
You've got a, what do you got there?
I got mojito.
Mojito?
Yeah.
Is it good?
It's delicious.
I've got an Angry Orchard cider. Who knew? Hey? It's really nice, really sweet. Yum, yum, yum.
The onboard DJ kept us entertained with some deep house hits, and lunch was another burger. These are really good.
The house bandy revelation fired up a set of contemporary hits to keep all our feet tapping until the heat of the sun and a touch of jet lag drove us indoors to catch up on some sleep.
Then a quick buffet meal before heading to the Stardust Theatre for the Pampas Devils Tango show. And once again, opportunities to capture footage were restricted. So here are our official Cooks Explore reviews of the Pampas Devils Tango show.
Right, we've just come back from the tango show, and it was really good. It sort of showed a little bit of the history of the tango, saying where it started in Buenos Aires, and it started in like brothels and things like that. It was really interesting, and then there was 4 dancers, and I thought they were very good, and I thoroughly enjoyed it.
So it's my turn now, and I'm the grumpy one when it comes to these things, so I better stay in character for that. So tango show, it's great. I mean, to the untrained eye, and I have an untrained eye, it did look like some people in some very posh outfits, kicking their legs in every direction like they're playing for Spurs. And also a lot of the dances seem to be based around the lady spurning the inappropriate advances of the male dancer. And with those heels on, she should have just stamped on their feet. They'd have gone running, scarping away, no problem at all. All joking aside, very, very talented. And it's actually good to see people who know how to do it properly do it, rather than the people that we see on the telly on a Saturday night. So still not my thing, but I'm glad I saw it.
We had timed this perfectly, but after the show, the most incredible sunset was wowing passengers on the promenade deck, and it was very special.
And it really was a beautiful sunset. And after we took a short walk around the promenade deck before grabbing a drink in Ocean's Bar, where we were serenaded by a trio of violinists who were playing modern music with a backing track, and it was really, really good. The ship was buzzing, and we saw in the night with the house band banging out 70s disco hits in the Bliss Bar, and the party was underway.
After a few hours of drinking and dancing, we filled our drinks bottles and retired to bed. Day 5 was the second of 3 sea days as we headed to Ushuaia, and we were settling into the ship's routine. Our day started with breakfast before heading up to the sun deck again to enjoy more of the sun's warmth. So we found a spot in the sun and sat with a drink and our books.
Good morning. This is the second of 3 sea days on our journey down to Ushuaia, Argentina, right at the end of the world. It's another lovely sunny day, and it's quite warm still. I'm unknown about whether it's shorts weather or not, but it's certainly t-shirt weather.
Yeah, definitely. I thought, I've actually put my leggings on today, but I'm actually quite roasting in them. So,
well, another really lazy day planned. Try and catch up on some lost sleep, do a bit of reading, getting really stuck into my Shackleton book.
That's it.
And another time just to recover from that arduous long flight from the UK.
Yeah, I want to go and see one of the lectures. There's a lecture on nature and wildlife in Antarctica, so I wouldn't mind going and seeing that. That's this afternoon. Apart from that, I don't think we've got a lot planned. There's a show on tonight, isn't there?
Yeah, it's a typical day on a cruise ship at sea, at the end of the day.
And you've already eaten loads, haven't you? You got caught by someone and stuffed a chocolate eclair in your face.
Too much food and too much sugar, that's for certain.
I think we want to do some walking around the deck as well.
Got to do something to get this sugar through my system somehow.
So much sugar.
Anyway, stay tuned.
However, our time sleeping and reading in the sun lasted only a couple of hours. The temperature had noticeably dropped too, so we headed indoors and enjoyed a tasty lunch.
What's the plan for this afternoon, guys?
Well, the weather has changed and it's got slightly cooler. We had a bit of a rainstorm earlier on, so we had a bit of lunch, and now we're going to do the promenade walk. It's 4 laps, is 1.4 miles, is it?
Something like that. Yeah.
We're just going to get some steps in, have a nice walk. We're also at this kind of latitude, we're now on the lookout for wildlife as well. We've seen some birds already, we've seen some petrels, haven't we?
Petrels, yes.
Okay, so hopefully we'll see some more, some albatross, hopefully.
See some whales.
And maybe some whales, apart from the 2 that are walking around the deck. Well, certainly the one that's walking around the deck anyway.
2.
After eating all that food, my goodness me. No shortage of food here, is there?
No, definitely not.
Okay. Well, hopefully we'll see something exciting on the wildlife. We've got a lecture at 3 o'clock.
And this was a brilliant walk, and whilst we saw no whales, petrels flew alongside the ship as we headed south, and we notched up nearly 3 miles of walking, soaking up this very, very special setting.
Then back to the theatre for our second enrichment lecture about Antarctica's wildlife and how to photograph it. Still needing to catch up on some sleep, we grabbed a cheeky nap before heading up to the garden cafe for our evening meal, and we noticed sick bags had been put out on all the public staircases. Either they were expecting rough seas, or Si was about to be selected as a stand-in chef.
A game of speed trivia in the Bliss Bar was a load of fun, followed by more wine and a Latin guitarist in the brilliant Gatsby's Bar, and this bar had a really smooth vibe.
The wine was flowing nicely, and we sunk enough wine to even get Si up onto the dance floor to dance the night away to some cheesy 80s disco in the Bliss Lounge.
And after that performance, the gods of the oceans were definitely cringing as a storm raged to the rear of the ship as it sailed into the darkness. Day 6 was the last of the 3 sea days and started with a lie-in to sleep off the previous night's wine. Once up though, we made ourselves busy.
So packing for this holiday was a real challenge as we're going from hot climates to temperate climates to freezing climates. So we're going to have to do laundry on the go during the 2 weeks we're here. So we've packed some of these laundry detergent sheets that we can wash our underwear and other bits and bobs and then hang them up in the shower to drip dry. Really easy to use. You literally tear off the sheet and dissolve it in the sink. And once the sheet is fully dissolved, you're ready to do your hand washing.
Breakfast followed by a promenade walk to clear our heads.
Right, hello. We're on our 3rd sea day. We're going to do another relaxing day. It's the day before we get to Ushuaia. We've had some breakfast this morning. We're planning to do some chilling out and some wildlife watching, because it's a good time to watch for the wildlife now, we were told. We've actually just seen an albatross, but the albatross, obviously we couldn't catch it on camera because we're out doing our walking, trying to walk off the breakfast. And filming.
It's just gone past.
Yeah. So that's that. We've got a speciality meal planned tonight in the steakhouse, so looking forward to that. That's about it, isn't it, really?
Have a lazy day.
Yay! Probably catch a few more Zeds as well and read some book.
But we didn't see much wildlife apart from an albatross, and the seas were still relatively calm, with a 1 metre swell apparently.
After we finished our 3-mile walk on the promenade deck, it was lunchtime, and the buffet was really busy and a bit of a melee.
We went back to our cabin and read some of our book before grabbing some extra Zeds.
Movies on the TV entertained us before we headed to the theatre for a briefing on the port of Ushuaia, and this was really helpful, and the cruise director gave helpful tips and advice on how to make the most of the time ashore in port. Then we headed for a spot of speciality dining.
Right, hello. We're in Cagney's Steakhouse, which is a speciality dining, and I've actually gone for French onion soup with a cheese crouton. So I'm just going to try it. It looks and smells delicious. Let's try it. A bit of the crouton. See this? Oh, very cheesy. Crouton's nice. Let's try a bit of the soup. That is really delicious. Out of 5, I'd say. Well, I can't really tell you until I've eaten it, really. I've only had a little sip of it. But so far, I'd say 4.5. But we'll see. So the soup starter was a hit. But what's the bread like, Si?
They give us a nice sort of mini baton here, which is warm, so it's freshly baked. It's got a small amount or a small tint of garlic and herb in it as well. Some lovely fresh butter here as well, which is really soft and smooth. And it's a really tasty bit of bread. Really enjoying this. Delicious. Out of 5, definitely a 5.
So what's for main course then?
Right, I've gone for truffle dusted fries, and I've gone for a filet mignon, and I've gone for with the pork juice, and I've gone for garlic mushrooms. Right, so I'm going to try the fries first. Really nice, got a really nice seasoning. The fries got a really good seasoning. I go for garlic mushrooms. Can't go wrong with garlic mushrooms. I love them anyway. Now let's have a little bit of the steak with some of the sauce. Oh wow, that was amazing. That's melting your mouth, and the flavour of the pork juice is absolutely phenomenal. I'll give that a definite 5. So this was absolutely delicious. Do you agree, Si?
Okay, so like Annette, I've also gone for filet mignon with the truffle dusted fries. I've gone for the cream spinach. So let's try that first of all. That's nice. It is creamy. Not much other flavour to it though, but try the fries. The truffle seasoning's definitely evident. Quite nice. Quite a nice flavour. And the steak, gosh, that's tender. Oh wow. Oh, really good flavours. And I've had it in the béarnaise sauce, and the steak is melting in your mouth. It's absolutely wonderful. Spinach lets it down a bit, but the steak more than makes up for it. So I'm also going to give it a 5.
So any room for pudding, Nettie?
Well, it's got to be creme brulee. And this is a raspberry creme brulee, so I will see what it's like. Got a bit of a crack. Let's try it. Really, really raspberry. Really, really sweet and creamy. That's really nice. Another one to the list. 5.
Gotta say that creme brulee really did look good, Nettie.
How on earth did you eat that monster chocolate cake though, Si?
Well, for pudding, look what I've got. Death by chocolate, 7-layer chocolate cake. Oh gosh, how am I going to eat this? Let's have a go. Ooh, okay. Oh wow, really good, really good. It's incredibly chocolatey and incredibly smooth and incredibly soft. So that's a straight 5.
So Cagney's Steakhouse was a hit, and we loved the food and the ambience too.
But don't forget the wine in those massive glasses, Si.
The sun was out, but the seas were becoming rougher, and there was a strong wind blowing, so much so that the promenade decks were closed off to passengers, and you could feel the ship's stabilisers working hard to keep the ship's passage smooth.
So we found a comfy lounger in the sheltered area at the aft of the ship and used our 3 minutes of internet to catch up with the family. And as we sat, an albatross flew in the ship's wake. Beautiful. And we enjoyed another incredible sunset. But after the sun went down, the seas gradually became rougher and rougher. Time to retire to bed.
These 3 sea days had sailed past quickly, but were really enjoyable, giving us time to relax, chill and catch up on lost sleep. But we were ready for more adventures and couldn't wait to see what opportunities Ushuaia would present to us. So we were pleased to be approaching the port of Ushuaia, but wondered what this day would bring, as all the cruise line excursions were extremely expensive for this port, and we wondered what we could realistically experience without incurring large costs. But the previous day's port talk from the cruise director had given us both hope and ideas.
Ushuaia is officially the end of the world, the southernmost city in the entire world, and the gateway to Antarctica.
Set deep within the Beagle Channel, sailing into Ushuaia is visually stunning, and we couldn't resist bombing up to the top deck to soak up the early morning view as we sailed down the channel, and it was just breathtaking. Wow.
but we needed breakfast, and today we chose to eat our breakfast in the main dining room. Eggs Benedict and a tasty omelette were a fine start to our day. After breakfast, we went back up on deck to take in the incredible vistas and wildlife that were all around us.
Well, we've had a really rocky night coming down south to. We're heading to Ushuaia. It's fair to say the seas were fairly rough last night. We certainly tossed and turned a bit in the night with the swell, but we're now in the Beagle Channel, which is absolutely stunning. It's like a large
Gorgeous, isn't it?
inlet that you can go between the Atlantic and the Pacific, obviously discovered by the Beagle expedition, Robert Fitzroy and Charles Darwin, of course. But the scenery is amazing.
It's jaw-dropping, isn't it?
It is absolutely jaw-dropping. We're heading to Ushuaia. We've got no excursions booked. We're just going to turn up at the cruise terminal and
Hope for the best.
Hope for the best. See what there is to do. No ideas.
We had a little chat last night. The cruise director told us a few things to look out for and nice things to do. It looked quite interesting, didn't it?
Yeah.
So hopefully we'll find something that will be nice to do.
But it's 1 week since we left the UK, and we finally found the weather that we left at home.
Actually, you say that. Look, the sun's coming out.
It is, but it's chilly. It's
chilly, yeah, very windy and everything. But you know, what do you expect?
Stay tuned and see what we get up to at Ushuaia.
Yay!
This was such a gorgeous setting with the mountains of Tierra del Fuego all around us, but boy was it windy, and many of the ship's decks were also closed to passengers.
We finally docked in Ushuaia and were eager to get ashore. We had not booked any expensive excursions and thought we would see what was ashore before deciding which adventure suited us.
Heading ashore, you're greeted by a horde of taxi drivers all offering tours of Tierra del Fuego, and there are also various tour booths on the quayside. Coach trips are offered, boat trips also, but like the rest of Argentina, these are fairly expensive, with boat trips costing between $150 and $400 per person.
We walked to the end of the world sign for that photo opportunity. Tick! Right, what next? Trying to manage our budget, we made the decision to take an Uber to Marshall Glacier Park, and this cost 7,000 pesos, about £6 to £7. The ride was about 15 minutes up a winding mountain road, and entrance to the park was 10,000 pesos per person, about £8 per person.
Well, here we are at the Marshall Glacier in Ushuaia, north of Ushuaia. Getting off the ship was a bit chaotic, and when we got onto the quayside, we had to kind of run the gauntlet with all the taxi drivers and everything that's there. There are a load of kiosks offering sort of excursions and trips and everything else like that. We weren't really sure what to do really, but an Uber to the Marshall Glacier Park was only sort of 7,000 pesos, $7-ish. Good value. It took about 20 minutes, didn't it?
It did, yeah.
And we've just arrived here. To get into here, we've had to pay 10,000 pesos, was it?
It was, yeah.
10,000 pesos each. So we're here for a walk in the countryside, and we have some incredible views.
It's more like a hike, not a walk.
Yeah, it's more like a, yeah, well, we're walking up into the mountains,
Yeah.
and it's stunning.
That's amazing. Turn it around, Si. Turn it around.
Okay, look what's up there.
Turn it around.
Oh wow, that's where we're headed.
Beautiful.
Absolutely stunning. All right, well, we'll video on our way up. There's a couple of viewpoints apparently, and there's a lovely running stream right to our side here. Absolutely stunning.
Gorgeous.
And we'll give you some account of our adventures in Marshall Glacier Park.
Entering the park, there are 5 colour-coded walking trails, all heading up steep trails up the mountainside, and it's hard to stress just how beautiful a setting we had found ourselves in. And initially, following a babbling mountain stream, the trails crossed numerous wooden bridges as we gently climbed upwards into the mountains, and the wonder of this place just impressed us more and more and totally blew us away. And it provided opportunities to see wildlife too.
The incline slowly got steeper and steeper until we seemed to break out into an open area, which in wintertime is used as a ski slope, but looking up at the mountains provided the most spectacular views.
The incredible vista of the mountain and the remains of the glacier just open out in front of you, and it is just wow, what a beautiful place this is.
Wow, look at this, it's amazing!
All trails follow the same route to the first and main viewpoint, but the glacier has sadly now retreated all the way back to the tops of the mountains. But the glacier meltwater still flows steadily down the mountainside and was crystal clear and rather inviting.
Hi Si, are you going to feel that water, see how cold it is?
Really good, doesn't it?
It does. Really clear, look.
Oh my gosh, bloody freezing.
We continued climbing and could see the weather closing in over the mountain tops. We soon came to a set of steps which were a bit of a scramble.
Going up the steps. It is looking absolutely gorgeous. Can't wait to get to the top.
We reached a point where we needed to make a decision on what route we'd follow.
Two routes. That looks like the blue and the red up onto the glacier. And this way looks like the orange, which is hopefully to the viewpoint.
So we were advised to follow the orange trail towards the viewpoint across the city, and this was a path across a rocky escarpment towards the adjacent glacial valley, and it looked a long way down.
You can just see Simon disappearing there, going over the summit. Oh no, look, Simon's disappearing right up there over the top. I better get a wiggle on.
Here we are, one viewpoint back towards Ushuaia. Amazing.
Then my crazy husband scrambled even further until we met a sign that told us not to go any further, and here we found even more stunning views.
But it was worth it, don't you think?
The views were certainly spectacular, I'll give you that.
Well, look, here we are. We've made it as far as we're going to go. At any rate, we're on the Marshall Glacier walk. It's taken us about 2 hours from the ship to get to this point. Look at that view across the city there.
Absolutely amazing.
And the views on the way up are, well, just wow, spellbinding.
It was, yeah. I had to overcome my vertigo a little bit over this top bit because it was very, very, very steep.
You did really well with that. Really well with that. Well done, you. But I mean, yeah, an incredible walk, incredible place. Hasn't broken the bank like a lot of the tours would have done. And it's a very us day, isn't it?
It was, yeah. Definitely Cooks Explore.
Very, very, very good. Would recommend. It's a bit of an arduous climb, but very, very well worth it. So we followed the orange trail, and it's taken us about an hour and a half's walk to get to this point. Luckily, it's downhill on the way back down.
So and a nice little coffee shop down the bottom, apparently.
Coffee shop at the bottom, so looking forward to that. All right, we'll give you an update when we get to the bottom, hopefully with some reviews of coffee and cake.
We'd really enjoyed this walk up Marshall Glacier, and then we headed back down, but thankfully the walk down was less arduous, and we again enjoyed all the amazing views as we descended.
We'd really enjoyed this walk in the mountains of Argentina, but we were beginning to miss home just a little, and a nice cup of tea and a slice of cake was just what we needed at this moment.
As luck should have it, at the entrance to Marshall Glacier Park is a cosy tea room, and this could have been somewhere in the Cotswolds, to be honest, with its selection of fine tea blends and homemade cakes. With the waitress also speaking great English, we did for a moment have to pinch ourselves.
What have you got, Si?
I've got Earl Grey tea with blue flowers. It's a special blend. They give me a teapot and a tea strainer. So they give me the tea leaves. I've got tea leaves in the tea strainer here. Bang that in there. Better give it a little bit of a stir. We're British. Give it a stir. Okay, put the lid on that. I guess we do that like that. Turn it over. Just the timer. 5 minutes.
Right, hot chocolate, and red velvet cookie, and berries cheesecake. Yum yum. Here we go. Taste test.
Earl Grey with blue flowers. Here we go. Taste test. Here we go. That's lovely. Really subtle, but definitely flowery, sort of fragrant aromas with sort of a subtle, gentle taste. Really good.
How many out of 5?
Oh god, that's straight 5.
Ooh.
And that Earl Grey tea with the lavender was divine, and the cakes and cookies were amazing.
Grabbing a taxi back into town, we then set about exploring Ushuaia's main high street and central district. This compact city centre was filled with shops and traders, catering for visitors and locals alike. It was very pleasant to just wander and explore. Souvenirs bought? Tick. Dollars changed for pesos? Tick. Hello. Hello.
You can't take him home.
That dog.
There were a fair few dogs roaming or sleeping on the streets, to be honest, but at least there are these feeding stations around the city for the dogs. A nice touch, and the local community really must be dog lovers.
Okay, now let's explore the seafront area. And of course, there's a big cruise port sign. Has to be done.
Then a moving memorial to those who sadly lost their lives in the Falklands War. It was good to stop here for a short while and reflect.
Moving back towards the city centre, we noticed some interesting birds on the shore too.
And then we found the supposedly most Instagrammable point of the city centre, and it's a shipwreck.
Okay, time to find a bar, and this colourful place has a long history too. Pose outside the plaque then, Si, and now go inside and get around in.
We found a nice little table in the corner and tucked in. Is the beer any good then, Nettie?
Right, this is a new feature. This is going to be beer reviews. Right, we've been trying, I can't pronounce it. I think it's Quilmes, I think. Quilmes.
It's a stout.
And we've both had the Quilmes lager, and now I'm trying the Quilmes stout. Let's try it. OMG, that is amazing. It's just like a sweet stout, like a Mackeson's. It's absolutely delicious. Wow, I'm so glad that I tried this. Out of 5, I will give it definite 5.
You enjoyed your day, Si?
We've had a brilliant day here in Ushuaia. What a place! And that Marshall Glacier and the walk up there, just outstanding. But as always, every good Crooks Explore adventure ends in a bar. And we found this great bar, Bar Ideal, I think it's called. And it's rather good. And the local beer is very, very drinkable. So cheers.
This bar was a real gem and the beer was excellent. And time flew by whilst we reflected on our awesome day in Ushuaia.
Then back aboard Norwegian Star, and after 30,000 steps walked, we were about finished for the day. But you've enjoyed your day in Ushuaia, haven't you guys?
So we are back on board Norwegian Star and we've just stuffed our faces in the buffet, much needed. And tonight, well, the sun's setting really late. The sun doesn't set till well after 10 o'clock tonight because we're that far south and it's summertime. So we're going to stay up and watch the sail away if we can and enjoy some more of the amazing scenery here at Ushuaia. And we sail out and we go out past Cape Horn and then we're crossing the Drake Passage, the dreaded Drake Passage, supposedly the roughest seas in the world. But will we get Drake Lake or will we get Drake Shape? We've had a look at the shipping forecast and it could be a bit iffy. So we'll see. There is a little bit of a gap between the storms and hoping the captain will make his way through the gap and dash us through, keeping us on calm seas. But stay with us and find out how we get on.
The sunset was absolutely beautiful, but an incident on board the ship prevented the ship sailing away until nearly midnight, and by that time we were fast asleep.
For some reason we woke up at 3 a.m. Outside our cabin was an island with a lighthouse and we thought this might be Cape Horn. It wasn't though, although we were fairly close. So how would the Drake Passage treat us as we sailed through the next 36 hours? And that's all we could think about as we tried to break through the repeated cycles of broken sleep as the ship rolled with the waves. We had a sense of trepidation as we left Ushuaia and headed out across the Drake Passage towards the Antarctic Peninsula. With its reputation of being the world's roughest sea and sometimes known as the ship's graveyard, we wondered how our cruise ship would fare.
That night's sleep was patchy, but tiredness eventually caught us up and we found ourselves still dozing in and out of sleep until mid-morning. You okay, guys? Unlike you to lie in so late.
Good morning from the Drake Passage, and it's not too bad out there. There's quite a swell going on. We were late leaving Ushuaia last night, and woken up this morning. We wondered why we were late leaving, but on our Facebook group page for this particular cruise, there are reports that there was sadly a fatality on board last night, with reports of an ambulance attending and a fire engine attending as well. We're not sure whether that's true or not, but if it is, obviously that's deeply sad news and our thoughts go out to the family affected. Hopefully we'll hear some more later today. Anyway, we're crossing the Drake Passage now and the seas are fairly choppy. The boat is moving around and it's a stagger down the corridor type morning, I think. But hopefully the crossing itself won't be any worse than this.
We were in shock about the reported fatality on board, so very, very sad. Then breakfast, and as we headed to the buffet we did feel some movement on board, or was Nessie just faking it?
It isn't like that. You're exaggerating. It's fine. God, you drama queen. Look at this. Look, yes, she is drunk. You're absolutely right. Never mind. It's a good bar though, isn't it? The cocktails are great.
After breakfast, we thought we would take a tour of the ship to see how the ship and those on board were coping. At first glance, the seas seemed no rougher than elsewhere in the world.
So, what's it like on a sea day crossing the Drake Passage? We're going to have a wander around the ship and just see what's going on, see what people are actually experiencing. Okay, well, it's still not too rough. There's a bit of a swell on, and there's definitely movement on the ship. Oh, unsurprisingly, there aren't people out here sunbathing. How cold is it? It doesn't feel that cold given where we are in the world. Hot tub's empty, first time I've seen that. Also, they've battened down all the tables and chairs. There's a few people sat out around. I wonder if the pool is netted over. Let's have a quick look. So I'm quite surprised they haven't netted the pool over, so technically you could go for a swim. Not sure I'd want to, but yeah, I'd have expected them to net the pool over. Yeah, it's quite surprising actually. It's fairly normal, isn't it? Actually.
Yeah. Running tracks are still open. Still walk around out here.
There's definite movement. You can't really walk in a straight line.
And it isn't, we haven't had too many beers yet.
Not yet, that's later. Courts are still open, although nobody using them. Now the upper sun deck is closed. That's the first thing we've seen that's closed so far. Diving nets are still open to use if you want to. And how are these seas? Still quite calm, I would suggest. They have been a bit rougher earlier on, but not much rougher than this. Still no whales. The sheltered outdoor deck at the rear still fairly quiet. Not seen this in a lot of use this week at all. Hot tubs are empty again. Wow, who'd have thought? Okay, buffet really busy as usual. People just sat there drinking tea, having a chat, enjoying the scenery in the warmth. Don't blame them. Room area looks fairly busy. A few people enjoying their Starbucks. Ocean's Bar and Grill looks pretty quiet. Very few people enjoying that. It's around about lunchtime right now. Give you an idea of how the ship is actually whilst we're on the Drake Passage. Doors to the promenade deck are shut, but there are some that's open. Locked? Always locked as well, but there are people clearly out on the promenade deck playing quoits. Deck 7 now is quite busy down here. Lots of people just looking around. There's people in the shops. To come out of one of the pedestrian doors, there's quite a few people out on the promenade deck. We'll just have a wander around, see what we can see. People playing deck games, people taking photographs. There's people out on the promenade deck. So is this worse or better than you thought it was going to be?
A lot better than I thought it was going to be fair. I thought it was going to be Drake Shake.
Have you got Drake Lake today?
Yeah, probably. Oh, it's a little bit. It's a little bit, isn't it?
It's a little bit wobbly, isn't it?
Yeah, but not as bad as I thought it was going to be, because they say it's one of the roughest seas in the world.
Not today, it's not.
No.
Yeah, occasionally you'll get a wave hit the ship and it makes the ship kind of lurch a bit. It's a little bit of a shock when it happens, but not too bad. Right, Nettie can walk in a straight line. See if you can, go on, because it is a bit wobbly. Look at that. Years of practice for the police, eh? So one distinct advantage about being on a rough sea in the ship is that your step count goes up because you don't walk in a straight line. So you do actually more steps than you would have done otherwise. So there you go. Every cloud and all that. So there's the view off the back of the ship. Get a better idea of the swell now. Right, let's go back in, finish off the lower decks and give our verdict on how it's been. It looks like the automatic doors are shut, but the manual doors do open, we hope. Yes, they do. West Lounge is relatively quiet. Idea where we are. We've got a little map down at reception. It's also on the TV in your room, this as well. We're doing 19 knots, and it shows how far south we are. We're well and truly in the Drake Passage on our way to Antarctica. That's our tour around Norwegian Star on our day across the Drake Passage. That's fairly normal, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, not too bad.
Not too bad at all. There is definitely some movement, and we've seen some people who are starting to show sort of effects of the seasickness. You can see that, and the seasick bags are out on the stairways. But, you know, nowhere near as bad as people make out so far for us anyway.
Well, we've been lucky, haven't we, I think?
Let's hope we continue to be lucky and the seas stay as they are.
The ship had also briefed us that we needed to hand them our passports to enable us to visit the Falkland Islands. There was a 5-hour time window for all passengers to do this, and the queues were long.
Si still wanted to catch up on some lost sleep, but I decided to leave him snoring and take in another of the enrichment lectures, this time about ice and how it forms and behaves in Antarctica. And after that, I did a bit more reading. Waking from his slumber, the Kraken awoke. Si, and he was ready for another meal. And afterwards, we hit the Bliss Bar again for another amusing game show.
This really was a Clash of the Titans affair, and all the passengers on board seemed up for a laugh, and some of them like a whiskey too, and this night quickly became a whiskey night. This day and this crossing of the Drake Passage really hadn't been too bad at all, and certainly no worse than we'd previously experienced in the North Sea, and everyone we spoke to agreed the same, in that we'd had experienced Drake Lake and not Drake Shake.
However, we also knew the weather and the sea conditions could quickly turn, and we hoped that we'd reach the shelter of the Antarctic Peninsula before it did. We knew that early in the morning, that's where we'd be, and we began to get proper excited.
It was day 9, and this was our big day. We had at long last made it to the Antarctic Peninsula, and we were heading for Paradise Bay.
Well, one of us drank a little too much whiskey last night. Can you guess who?
Good morning. We definitely survived Drake Lake, which was really no issues at all yesterday, was it?
Not at all, no.
Really good. And today we have made it to our travel goal. We are in Antarctica. Excited.
Yay!
So, yeah.
I think we're waiting to go to Paradise Bay at the moment, aren't we?
Yeah, we're just sort of moored off Paradise Bay at the minute.
Yeah.
And then we're just waiting for the nod to go into Paradise Bay, and hopefully we'll see some amazing sights here in Paradise Bay. Because can't believe how excited I am.
I know, so excited. We're just going to pop off and get some breakfast, aren't we, first?
Amazing. Anyway, stay tuned and we'll show you around Paradise Bay.
Yay! Some breakfast, and we togged up for being outside. What's the weather like outside, Si?
Okay, we're up on the pool deck now and it's raining. Obviously shelter from the wind down here. I'd say it's just above freezing, I would say. It's fairly cold, but not perishingly cold down here anyway.
We headed up to the heli deck to find a good spot for the day ahead. So here we are, all dressed up in our togs. Anyone would think that we're going to the Antarctic.
Certainly helps being British.
Yeah.
We're used to the cold and the wet.
And we're just waiting for our slot to go into Paradise Bay. So we're just, it's 10 o'clock is our slot, isn't it? And what time is it now? Half 9 now. So we're just waiting for our slot. At the moment, it's not really that cold, but I'm sure when we get closer it will be it'll drop, I'm sure.
And there's not many people about either, amazingly.
No, I think most people are having their breakfast. Yeah, we're on the helipad, because that's supposed to be the best place.
We get views both sides of the ship from up here, and there's a low railing rather than the glass screens as well.
That's right.
It does mean you're exposed to the wind and the rain a bit more, but
that's why we're togged up.
That's why we're togged up. All right,
we'll report back later.
We stood on the deck soaking up the views of Antarctica. It was cold and raining, but the rain soon turned to snow. We were really glad we'd dressed for the weather and not turned up in flip-flops. Really, there were obviously a few Geordies on board, judging by their attire in such freezing cold weather.
The enrichment team began their narration of what we were encountering over the tannoy, and this helped us make sense of our surroundings. Firstly, icebergs, and lots of them, but colours, shape and movement all vary, and the reasons why were all explained. Wildlife sightings took a while. They would eventually become more frequent.
For now though, the scenery was the star of the show, and the rugged beauty of the Antarctic Peninsula takes your breath away, and if it doesn't, the icy winds of the glaciers surely will. It is just stunning though.
OMG, look where we are. This is amazing in Antarctica. It's absolutely gorgeous. Absolutely stunning, look at it. Wow. Wow.
Staying warm was a bit of a challenge though.
So it's about 2 degrees out there, and it rains, then it snows, then it rains, then it snows, and just sailing in now past the islands into Paradise Bay, and it's beautiful out there. There's icebergs out there, and there's a few petrels swimming by the ship. People said they've seen blowholes for whales. We've not seen them yet. We'll look out for those.
Well, we're going to look out. We've just come in to like warm up a little bit because it's 2 degrees out there at the moment,
and the wind chill on top of that.
Yeah, and wind chill and everything. So we've just come to warm up a little bit, and then we'll get back out there. It looks like we're a bit closer to the icebergs now, so looking forward to seeing that. As we went further into the Antarctic Peninsula, the snow became heavier and the temperatures dropped just a little bit further. Let's say hello, you're in the snow. A nice touch was the crew were serving hot chicken broth to passengers out on the deck.
A fellow passenger had an Antarctica flag with them and was kindly loaning it to others to get that trip of a lifetime photo. Thank you, this was a really kind gesture.
We were determined not to miss anything and scoured the horizon for wildlife and any unusual features. Black thing there, it looks like it might be a bit that might come off, do you think? Can you see it over there?
There's an iceberg over there.
No, not the iceberg, the big mountain. Can you see the big mountain?
Yeah.
Can you see like there's a black sort of curve on the mountain? Can you see it?
Within the bay, the seas were calm and still, and soon wildlife sightings started in earnest. Humpback whales, penguins porpoising, orcas and plentiful seabirds all abundant. We just couldn't take our eyes off the seas around us. It was spectacular.
A bitter wind blew off the glaciers, and as we approached Paradise Harbour, icebergs appeared more and more frequently. This was beyond our expectations.
Look how stunning this place is. It's absolutely incredible. What we've dreamed of. If a bit chilly.
So far, we've been surprised that the decks haven't been that busy with passengers, but once in Paradise Harbour, this changed.
It's getting viewpoints, places to take your photos is a little tricky in parts of the ship. The helipad area is now very busy, and everybody's trying to cram onto the running deck now, but you can't blame them. Look at the views. Stunning.
Time for lunch, and as we sat behind the glass of the restaurant, humpback whales surfaced really close to the ship. Not the best footage, but it was a real wow moment.
After lunch, we were treated to more of the same as we went deeper and deeper into Paradise Harbour. The ship opened at the bow area normally reserved for crew, and this offered a near 270-degree panorama. There were big queues for this soon after it opened, and our tip was to wait an hour before attempting this.
This afternoon kept giving us the most incredible views, and although we were cold, we were determined to stay out on deck.
Eventually, the ship did a 180-degree U-turn within Paradise Harbour. It's a strange and silent place and may not be everybody's idea of paradise, but it certainly is the stuff dreams are made of. And then, sadly, we were sailing away, but what a day it had been.
Back in our room, we got changed ready for our evening. So have you enjoyed today, guys?
What a day we've had here at Paradise Bay, Paradise Harbour in Antarctica. Wow.
It's been absolutely stunning.
What a place. That's visually amazing. And
we've seen penguins, we've seen humpback whales. There were a couple of orcas, but we didn't see the orcas, did we?
no, they were around, but we didn't see them.
We didn't see those.
But we saw loads of icebergs and just
absolutely stunning.
what a place.
Yeah.
A real experience.
We saw some carving, didn't we?
Yeah.
We didn't get any footage of it, but we saw it and heard it.
But sadly, we've just had an announcement over the tannoy from the captain that owing to a weather system that's coming in, that's going to create quite a significant swell in the ocean. And he was talking about 10-metre high waves.
Yeah, I know.
They are sadly aborting tomorrow's visit to Elephant Island, which is really disappointing, obviously, but we'd rather be safe and not in the 10-metre waves.
Sad, isn't it? Because you've been reading the Shackleton book, haven't you? And all that. So it is really sad, but obviously safety comes first.
Safety first, absolutely. So, but at least we've had a day here and we've ticked Antarctica off our
and it
list.
has been absolutely amazing, hasn't it?
Stunning.
Really
absolutely
amazing.
Stunning. So an evening on board tonight, and we're just going to go and have a meal and probably a few more glasses of wine, hey?
Yeah. To be honest, losing the Elephant Island stop was a blow, especially for Si, who was a big fan of the Ernest Shackleton story and was reading yet another book on him during this cruise. But 10-metre high waves, no thank you, and we were grateful that the captain wasn't taking unnecessary risks and the sea charts really didn't look good.
An evening meal in the main dining room was most enjoyable, and we finished off our night in the excellent mojito bar on deck 13. Why oh why hadn't we found this sooner? It had been another amazing day, and we were hoping for some amazing sleep if the Drake Passage would let us.
Day 10 was an unexpected sea day.
Well, good morning. And the captain did safely navigate us, I think, out of the heaviest of seas yesterday. Here we are this morning, we're in the Drake Passage. We're not heading to Elephant Island, sadly, which is a real shame. Looking forward to that, but rather be in safer seas than terrible seas. But I think there was some movement in the night. We haven't had the greatest night's sleep, but the captain's done a great job getting us into these calmer waters. Right, so I'm going to go for breakfast, isn't it? Bless us having a lie in. Don't blame her. But there's a lecture this morning on Ernest Shackleton that I really want to attend, so I'm going to grab some breakfast and then go to my lecture.
So I took a quick breakfast and headed into the theatre for the excellent lecture on Ernest Shackleton.
Whilst I enjoyed a lovely lie-in and a more leisurely late breakfast.
So what to do on this unexpected sea day? It was snowing outside and the winds were icy cold. The seas were getting rougher and access to outside areas was eventually being restricted, and we were getting chilly anyhow.
So we've got a 2 to 2.5 metre swell on the sea, and it's snowing, and they're saying it's going to get worse. Okay, could get a bit of Drake shake later on today.
Well, the ship certainly has a different feel on wet, cold sea days than it does on the sunny sea days that we had early on in the cruise. Everybody is crammed into the indoor spaces, and it's quite busy in all of those spaces. The Ginza restaurant is put over to people who just want to read and play board games, and that's where we are now, just sitting down with our books. But pretty much everywhere indoors is packed. It's cold, wet, raining outside. It's about 4 or 5 degrees above, and the seas are quite choppy again. And they've just put an announcement over the tannoy saying that tomorrow, although we're still crossing the Drake Passage, we're heading up to the Falkland Islands, and we've been told to encounter some pretty rough seas tomorrow. So we'll see how we go with that. But making the most of our days on the ship, it's nice to get a bit more sleep and a bit of reading done, and the lectures this morning were spot on as well. So.
Then some lunch in the main dining room, really tasty. How are those seas looking, Si?
It's really blowing a blizzard now, and it's pretty chilly out here. The sea's not hugely rough, but there's some real movement on the ship now.
It wasn't nice being out on deck, so we stuck to indoors. Even more reading followed in the atrium area, and the combination of a good meal and the rocking motion of the ship and all the reading made us rather sleepy, so we retired to our cabin and grabbed a nap. Actually, it was quite a long nap. Was this tiredness, or was it a bit of seasickness? No matter what, the sleep was good.
When we woke, the seas were getting rougher and rougher, and the swell reached at least 3 to 4 metres. We headed up to the buffet to get a cup of tea.
So a quick storm update. We've just been sat with one of the officers on the ship who had his phone out, which had the weather charts on. It does look as though there's a really severe storm ahead of us. And the captain's decision is to slow the ship right down to allow the storm to pass in front of us whilst going around the back end of the storm. So at the minute we've got about 4 metre swell out there, which is giving a bit of movement, but is bearable and everybody's having a fairly normal time on the ship. But if we were to go any faster, we would be right in the main part of the storm, which has got currently 8 metre swell, so double the height of the swell that we're currently experiencing. It would be very uncomfortable. So really good move from the captain, although he has got to speed up quite a lot once we go around the back end of the storm, just so that we can resume our normal schedule and get to Stanley on time. But at the minute, the plan is, all being well, that by the time we get to Stanley, the storm will have passed, and provided the wind's okay, we should be able to get the tenders into Stanley.
The possibility of seasickness was again going through our minds, and again seasick bags appeared in the stairwells. Access to the promenade deck was again prevented, as well as areas of the main pool area.
We took in a light meal in the buffet before heading to the theatre for a magic show. To be honest, our expectations were low, but this magician pleasantly lifted everyone's spirits with a performance of cleverly crafted tricks and routines in both Spanish and English. There was plenty of humour in the show, and we left glad we had attended.
The Mojito Bar was rapidly becoming our favourite bar on the Norwegian Star. So to hell with the rough seas and let it rock. Well, the ship can rock anyhow. And fittingly enough, it was rock night in the Bliss Lounge too, and the house band belted out cheesy rock classics whilst we continued to fully sample the drinks menu. And eventually, we staggered back to our cabin. That was due to the heavy seas, of course.
Day 11, and boy were the seas rough overnight. Si is always the scientist and decided to measure the tilt of the ship in the swell.
I do love my science, and whilst a 6-degree tilt in our Deck 5 midship cabin was common, at one point in the night we did measure an 8-degree tilt. However, by the morning things had settled.
So despite the choppy seas last night, the ship is just really continuing as normal. Normal areas are opening up, the viewpoints across the atrium are opening up, the pool deck's opening up, and the buffet breakfast is a little quieter than usual. I'd have to say people are just getting about their business, so obviously it hasn't affected too many passengers in the night.
The awesome crew also lifted everyone's mood.
1, 2, 3, go! Hey, 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 Thank you so much.
This was yet another sea day as we crossed the Drake Passage, and this time we had certainly had a bit of Drake shake. Okay guys, tell us how bad it really was.
So how was your night crossing the Drake Passage in the Drake Shake?
Yeah, it was pretty good actually. It was a little bit choppy in that, but it was quite nice. It was actually rocking me to sleep.
It was like being rocked in a cradle as a kid, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Gently rocking you to sleep.
Yeah, that's why I'm feeling tired all the time.
But the ship's a bit quieter this morning, isn't it?
It is a lot quieter. We managed to get space for breakfast.
That was a bonus.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but a lot of the things are still shut off, aren't they?
Yeah, you can't. There's lots of people going around on the promenade. But I don't know how they're getting out there because it's actually blocked off. What we've seen.
They've shut all the doors that we could find, so somebody's either found a door that isn't blocked or just gone through the barriers. Fool if they have.
Yeah.
But the pool deck's still closed, isn't it?
That's all closed off. Yeah, they've got all this like yellow tape up there now to stop people going across, haven't they?
But the sun's out, even if it is windy.
Really, it looks really pretty out there.
And it's beginning to warm up a bit too, isn't it?
Yeah, it has. Yeah.
Anyway, so another day at sea for us today. I finally finished my book, hopefully.
Yeah.
And we're going to take in a few more shows and bits of entertainment today. Stay tuned.
We were over halfway through this cruise and more hand-washed laundry was in order, and again we tucked into our books before lunch.
After lunch, we noticed the seas were calm enough to allow access to the promenade and pool deck again. We love a promenade walk no matter what the weather is, but it's fair to say that this walk was, bracing.
Well, it's nice to be able to walk the promenade deck again. We're coming to the end of the Drake Passage now, which has been a bit of a welcome relief, hasn't it, really?
It has, yeah. It's still a bit nippy, so still togged up nice and cosy. But it's nice to get out and get a bit of exercise.
And the seas are still a little bit on the choppy side. Let's have a quick look. You kind of get that, and we're still walking as if well, certainly if you've had a few too many Prosecco's, as if we're walking down here. But overall, we've had Drake Lake on the way out. We've certainly had Drake Shake on the way back.
Yeah.
Not been too bad. There's obviously some people been ill.
Yeah, I think there's some sort of lurgy or something going around on the ship.
Well, it could be seasickness, but some people are clearly in their cabins. But for us, it just made me want to sleep a bit more, to be honest. But
it's quite nice. It just watches you to sleep, doesn't it?
yeah. Any rate, so it's nice to be able to do a bit of deck exercise again if you can't walk in a straight line. And we'll update you on the activities tonight. We're going for an Italian meal tonight.
This was a most beautiful deck walk with the sun creating rainbows in the sea spray.
Again, when we headed back inside, we noticed that all the sick bags had been used up. Not put off, we went for a coffee in Starbucks, and then we attended another port guide talk. These are excellent, and this time we were briefed on Port Stanley in the Falkland Islands.
We had booked another specialty dining experience for the evening, and this time it was in La Cucina, which provides an Italian dining experience. So how was it, guys?
We've just come out of La Cucina, which is a specialty dining Italian, and it was very tasty actually. I had a braised lamb shank with a lemon, garlic and parsley sauce and a saffron risotto. It was really tender. The lamb shank was really tender. It was quite fatty, but then sometimes you do get that in the lamb shank. But full of flavour. The risotto for me had a few little hard bits in it, and it sort of lacked a bit of flavour really for myself. It was really like I say, the lamb shank was really nice. I would probably give it out of 5. I'd probably give it 3.5. But I did try some of Simon's Meat Feast pizza, and that was amazing. That was really good. Then for pudding, I had a panna cotta, and it came with like a blackberry compote and a little meringues around the side, and that was a 5 out of 5 because that was really tasty. All in all, it was a really good meal, really good service. The wine kept on flowing. It was a really good wine. Oh, we had bread with the olive oil and balsamic vinegar to start off with as well. So all in all, a really good evening.
So Si really was trying to pay homage to his favourite Monty Python sketch, Mr. Creosote.
Then another evening trying out the wines and enjoying the samba music in Gatsby's. Actually, this is now our favourite bar in Norwegian Star. This is a debate that could rumble on and on and on. And as the sun set over the horizon, it did just that.
But we had survived the Drake Shake and fulfilled lifelong dreams of seeing the magical continent of Antarctica. And tomorrow we'd hopefully set foot on the Falkland Islands, and we had high hopes of another amazing day ashore, but this time with added penguins. Day 12 was an early start, and we rose at 5 a.m. Port Stanley is supposed to be one of the harder ports to actually access, and is a tender port. You need both favourable wind and sea conditions to safely tender ashore, and thankfully we had both. And the ship was keen to get people ashore quickly so they could make the most of the favourable conditions.
We had booked the Lagoon Bluff NCL excursion, and this was the only NCL excursion that we had booked for the whole cruise, thinking that they would prioritise those who'd booked excursions if they had to. But it didn't come to that, and soon after 7 a.m. the passengers were making the 30-minute trip ashore.
This was a beautiful harbour area, and once ashore we waited patiently to board our minibus, whilst a sea lion watched on from the jetty.
We boarded our minibus, which was driven by Len. Yeah, you know Len. Well, everybody knows Len, don't they? And unsurprisingly, with only 3,500 inhabitants on the whole island, pretty much everybody there does. It's impossible to escape the impact of the 1982 conflict between Britain and Argentina when visiting here, and Len was just like every other local we spoke to that day, proudly British and grateful for the sacrifices made by British soldiers to liberate the islands all those years ago. And as we drove past the mountains of Harriet and Tumbledown, due respects were paid. And our destination was Bluff Cove, again the scene of a terrible loss of life in the 1982 conflict. But then and now it is also the nesting site for king penguins and gentoo penguins, and is a prime tourist attraction on the islands.
After a briefing by park rangers and disinfecting our shoes, we were free to go and see these magnificent birds in their natural habitat, and this was an incredible experience, and we could get close enough to see how they interact and communicate. King penguins had recently hatched babies sat under their bellies, and you could just make them out. There were lots of chattering and posturing, as well as older chicks who were losing their brown fluffy coat, learning how to rely less on mum and dad. The gentoo penguins also had their young. Some would simply sleep and laze about. Others were literally taking food from their parents' mouths, and others spent their time chasing each other, or chasing their parents, or falling over trying to do that.
This was some spectacle, and all whilst geese and turkey vultures circled round, with the latter looking to prey on the vulnerable young, and we spent a couple of hours just watching this spectacle and seeing the penguins head into the sea and others coming back out from a bit of fishing.
So we've got to Bluff Cove to see the penguins. There's gentoo penguins and king penguins, and it's absolutely awesome because you can get so close. I'm absolutely loving this experience.
And these hours flew past even if the penguins couldn't. But the weather turned and a cold wind got up and the rain started.
But this is a normal day in the Falklands, and the Sea Cabbage Cafe and adjoining gift shop in Bluff Cove provided refuge for visitors and a taste of home too, with Yorkshire tea served in fine bone china with scones and cakes too. This was complimentary with our NCL excursion and was absolutely lovely. And the smiling staff serving up these very British delights were also happy to pose for a picture too. Thank you, ladies. The setting of this place is breathtaking, but you can't help think of those who also suffered in this very place in our living memory too. Sobering.
Our time here ended and we boarded our bus back to Stanley, and it only seemed right to find a pub and raise a glass to all those affected by the conflict. And the Victory pub in Stanley was an appropriate place to do just that.
We're going to have fish and chips.
Yes, we are.
2 pints of rock hopper ale, please. Served at room temperature, of course. A proper British boozer this. Dartboard, jukebox and fish and chips. By heck, this is good. Cheers, chaps.
So we're in the Victory Bar in Port Stanley, and it's nice to get a taste of home. Fish and chips, amazing, and a decent beer as well, rock hopper beer, brewed just over there, and it's really good ale. We met some lovely people here as well, and we really do rate this place. It's nice to have a beer for the boys as well, so cheers, boys.
Cheers.
Yeah, and a really good day here in Stanley, and the penguins this morning at Bluff Cove. Wow. Absolutely wow. Gotta be done.
And others from the ship also came in for that authentic British pub experience. Better have another then. Cheers! Okay, this is some day already.
Shall we go and explore the town? Oh look, we brought British weather too.
So we just left the Victory Bar and it's absolutely lashing it down. Welcome! UK weather, here we go.
So exploring the town in the rain was a dank affair, and we got rather wet, but we saw inside the Christchurch Cathedral, the world's most southerly Anglican cathedral.
We also walked to the Moving War Memorial with its adjacent bust of Margaret Thatcher. Is the weather improving, guys?
It's absolutely lashing it down.
This didn't stop us exploring the pretty seafront area, and we marvelled at the names of the ships assigned to be guardians of this place that are inscribed on the opposite hillside.
Then visited the excellent museum in the historic dockyard area. This was a really cool museum with some incredible exhibits and really worth the time of anyone visiting Stanley.
Gift shops and supermarkets lured us in, and guess who bought some British sweets and chocolate bars?
Si is after all so predictable.
What are you saying?
Is the weather improving now, guys?
Well, the sun's out and we've had a nice walk around Stanley. We've been in an amazing museum, been in the cathedral, we went down to the memorial, the War Memorial, really tastefully done, and in the museum as well. I'm going to wander back to the tender now, see what that looks like about getting back onto the ship. But a great...
We need to dry off as well, don't we?
Got a bit soggy. Great day here in Stanley.
There were big queues forming for the tender back to the ship, so we walked on a bit more, just to wait and see if the queue shortened.
It did exactly the opposite, so we joined the line.
Our tender back to the ship was a little rockier than coming ashore, but we were soon back on board and in need of dry clothing.
We were soon leaving this wonderful place, and the sun was well and truly shining again. After changing, we grabbed a meal in the buffet and headed to the theatre, where the Dreams duo put on a show filled with mesmerising aerial performances. This couple were incredibly talented, and even Si agreed that this was a good show. The rough seas must be getting to him.
Okay, but maybe it was the cocktails. What did they come after? But the ship felt quiet after what had been a long and tiring day ashore in Stanley. Or was there an illness on board that was afflicting the passengers? We'd certainly noticed more and more people coughing and spluttering. Well, one more before bed it is. For medicinal purposes, of course.
Day 13, with yet another sea day ahead, and a bit of a thick head, we enjoyed a lie-in.
A late breakfast it is then, and we were sailing north into warmer climes, but whilst it was sunny, it was still very, very windy and not quite warm enough for a sunbathing t-shirt and shorts.
A bit more reading before lunch, followed by another bracing walk on the promenade deck.
It definitely is. It's blowing right old hilly up here.
Blowing up.
It's your hat.
YouTube gold.
So Nettie did hold on to her hat after that, and it was good to get those steps in and try and burn off at least a few of the calories we seem to be continually consuming. And of course, after that walk, we needed ice cream. So how is it, Nettie?
Right, 5 out of 5. It's absolutely delicious. I've gone for rum and raisin, lots of flavour to it. The funny thing is though, because it's so windy, there's these like little crispy things that you can put on the top, as well as hundreds of thousands. Got a nice scoop of the crispy things, and whoosh, they flew out of the spoon. So I've only managed to get a few of those on.
But to battle the wind today.
It definitely is. Delicious though.
So, Si, has there been another issue on the ship?
So one of the features of today has been that a small group of passengers have been lobbying fellow passengers to get them to sign a petition to complain against Norwegian Cruise Line for the missed ports. Now, before we sailed, a couple of months before we sailed, they cancelled Punta Arenas and the Chilean fjords, which was one of the highlights of the cruise. And it was within the sort of the terms where we would forfeit some of our cruise fare if we decided not to sail. And then obviously we've had the cancelled port at Elephant Island due to the storm and the bad weather that we were facing down there. And this group of passengers have been going around trying to get people to sign their signature. They claim they got over 500 signatories, but there was certainly a good crowd of people down at reception this morning, all complaining about the missed ports and stuff. From our perspective, we do feel the Chilean fjords was a real disappointment, that being cancelled. We thought the $50 compensation for that was pretty miserly by NCL, but the Elephant Island stop was completely understandable, and we were very grateful that they cancelled that stop because of the storm. On the storm charts looked absolutely horrendous, and I'm really glad that the captain sort of prioritised our safety. Not sure whether this petition is going to achieve anything, but it's certainly been a feature today, and there's been some unhappy NCL passengers going around the ship today, sort of really vocally complaining about what's been going on. Anyway, if we get any more updates, we'll let you know.
Anyway, back to some fun, and this time it was educational too, and we took the opportunity to brush up on our abysmal Spanish. Lo siento, por favor, mi español no es bueno. Hopefully that'll help a bit. And we then had to collect our passports after our visit to the Falklands, before heading to the next port talk on Puerto Madryn. We had made no plans for this stop whatsoever, so this session was extremely helpful.
Si was allowed to select the venue for tonight's entertainment, and of course he went and dragged us to the whiskey bar, where they were showing Premier League football.
So after making me watch singing, dancing shows all week, it's my turn because there's football on. All blah blah blah, as our good friend Ali would call it. Thanks, Ali. So it's just time in the proof bar. Premier League's on. Spurs Arsenal. Actually, fancy Spurs winning this one. Sneaker surprise. Let's hope they do.
It was Spurs v Arsenal, and to be honest, it had just as much theatrics as those shows you dragged me to.
Then a meal before heading to our favourite mojito bar.
Hang on, I thought Gatsby's was our favourite bar. Can we have joint favourites?
Suppose we better keep trying them both in case one is actually better. You're retiring to bed early, guys. Everything okay?
Well, a little bit of a change of plan for tomorrow. Not that we had any plans for tomorrow in Puerto Madryn, but apparently because of a medical emergency, we're getting into port very early so that they can offload the person to the nearest hospital.
We wish them well and hope they recover soon and speedily. But apparently we're able to get off the ship at 6 a.m. in the morning. So what that means is we haven't got long there anyway, because we'll be back aboard at 3:30. And we weren't supposed to get off the ship till sort of 7:30 or something like that. So we've got an extra hour and a half ashore. So we're going to get an early night tonight and try and get off the ship as early as we can in the morning to make the most of our time in Puerto Madryn.
So tomorrow we would set foot back in Argentina and hopefully be back in warmer climes.
But we wondered how Argentinian Puerto Madryn would be and whether we would be saying Borodar more than Buen Dia. It was day 14 of this trip of a lifetime, and we had arrived in Puerto Madryn earlier than planned owing to a medical emergency on board, so we had an extra hour and a half in port and we were determined to make good use of it.
We disembarked as soon as we could to walk the long pier to the shore. So what's the plan, guys?
So we're in Puerto Madryn this morning. It's lovely and sunny. Give them a wave, Nettie. And we haven't got anything booked today. We're just going to get off and walk and explore. We're told there's some excursion sort of huts at the end of the long pier here. Just going to go and have a look and mooch around. We haven't got that long. We've got like 6 or 7 hours here, but it'll be a nice day exploring. I think there is a viewpoint down over there somewhere that we might make our way to and have a walk down there. That could be quite nice. Other than that, nice to be back in shorts.
So this place looks a beautiful place. But what's that in the water, Si?
Lots of jellyfish in the water today. Some people are going swimming with sea lions today, and it looks as though they'll be swimming with jellyfish as well. I looked at it, not sure I'd want to do that.
So you've got a morning walk plan then. Where exactly are you heading?
Stunning here this morning, absolutely stunning. And we're going to go for that sort of viewpoint down over there somewhere it is. It's supposedly about an hour's walk. We're going to have a look anyway. Looks as though there's a nice walk along the beach to get there.
And that looks an incredible beach. Are there any alternative options and trips when you get ashore?
So at the end of the pier here, there's people trying to get you to book tours, all trying to canvass you as soon as you get to the end of the pier. There's also a little office and kiosk there. Looks like you can book tours in there. Typically like whale watching, sea lions, boat rides, kayaking, that kind of stuff. Not sure we'll do that because it actually looks a lovely place to walk about and explore on foot.
So we set off on our hike to the viewpoint on the other side of the bay. The beach was quiet and empty, and the esplanade provided wonderful views. Beachside cafes were beginning to open, and the operators of boat trips to penguins and sea lions and snorkeling tours were all ready for today's custom. So after the previous day's port talk, we had decided to explore on foot and walk the very long esplanade along the sandy beach to the Indigenous Peoples Monument and Eco Centre viewpoint.
We've been walking for about an hour now down the seafront. It's absolutely gorgeous. What a great esplanade it is. And there's loads of kiosks and things, you know, on the esplanade if you wanted to do like snorkeling or diving or swim with sea lions or kayaking and stuff. Stacks of them there. You don't have to take the onboard ships excursions. There's loads to do.
This has been a fabulous walk. We've seen lots of like sculptures and street art along the way.
Yeah, everywhere.
It's absolutely gorgeous.
So we're nearly at the viewpoint now. We'll stop there and then take in the time and then see what we can do next.
After about an hour and a quarter, we arrived at Punta Cueva. What's this place, Si?
So we're nearly at the monument, and we've just before we've got there noticed we're at a place called Punta Cueva, and down on the beach it says there's some historic caves or something. We think it says that anyway. So we're going to go down and have a look, and we can already see some incredible street art.
And this was a special place indeed, and was the actual location where the Welsh settlers who came to this place in 1865 first settled and lived. The caves in these limestone cliffs provided shelter and a base to explore from, and this eventually helped them establish what is now Puerto Madryn, an achievement that is widely acknowledged and celebrated all across the city, and marked by a small chapel and some incredible street art on the beach. All of this incredible history slowly unravelled to us as we explored the beach and cliffs.
We're not sure if these are historic caves or not. They're obviously quite well eroded if they are. To be honest, it's quite nice just walking along the shore. Absolutely lovely. Ship in the background.
And And then we stumbled on the actual caves themselves, and although well eroded, you could still make out the alcoves and ledges that they carved into the caves and into the limestone to store their goods while they lived there.
And on the cliff tops above the caves, this is marked by Welsh and Argentinian flags flying in the wind next to the Puerto Madryn sign.
And fittingly adjacent to this area is a monument celebrating the local indigenous community who were of course displaced and affected by the settlers. Again, very, very thought-provoking.
A short distance further along the coast is the city's eco-centre, showcasing local initiatives to improve the environment. This wasn't open to walk-up visitors though at the time we were there, but there were some absolutely breathtaking views off the cliffs. Wow! So what next, guys? Sea lions?
To have a lovely walk out here to the viewpoint down by the eco centre. Some stunning views.
Absolutely gorgeous.
Absolutely beautiful. Bit of a dilemma though, whether we go on further. We've tried looking at Uber to see if we can get a cab down to Punta Loma. It is theoretically possible, although Uber's saying limited availability. And we've had a go, but it was taking minutes upon minutes to try and locate a driver. So we kind of took that as a bit of an omen that we shouldn't proceed, worrying about whether we'd be able to get back or not.
Away probably, and
yeah,
wasn't it? Yeah.
You know, and we haven't got that long in port, so we think it is possible, especially if you've got more time in port, just to get an Uber and get down there. But you need a bit of good fortune with getting a driver. Actually, it was only about $10 a trip as well, so a quite inexpensive way to get to Punta Loma to see the sea lions if you want to give it a go.
Yeah.
We've decided not to take the risk today because we haven't got that long in port today.
It's back by 3:30. If it was later, like another one, it was 8:30, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So if it was that, we would definitely have gone for it, but we don't want to be stranded.
You can walk it, but I think from the port to Punta Loma it's about 3.5 hours walking each way. Not for us today. All right, well, we're going to just take a bit of refreshment and then we're going to head back into Puerto Madryn.
So we walked back the way we came, and the views across the bay were spectacular, and by now Puerto Madryn had woken up.
And look, the beach is coming to life, and people are sunbathing, playing volleyball, kayaking, and wonderful.
We stopped part way at the rather lovely Coral restaurant for a spot of refreshment. What you got there, guys?
So apparently a ham and cheese croissant is a local speciality, so give it a go, Nate. What you got?
Ham and cheese. I've had some already. It's really delicious. Really good.
Taste the local foods, local foodie rating?
I'm really enjoying this. I'll give this a 4.5.
4.5. Woo!
This is a tremendous little cafe. Look at the view on the back there. It's amazing. Straight out onto the beach. It's called Coral. It's just down from the cruise dock. We just had amazing croissant, ham and cheese croissant. Wonderful, really tasty. And even the tea was good tea. Something to write home about that. That's brilliant. And the bill, it came to 2 teas, 2 croissants, ham and cheese croissants, 9,200 pesos, so just over $9. Great value.
So after this, we continued our walk back into town and stopped at the official monument celebrating the settlement of this area by the Welsh.
Heading inland a short distance, we found the central Plaza de San Martin, with its impressive monument of General Jose de San Martin, who was instrumental in liberating this part of Argentina from the Spanish. This was a small but busy and pleasant park space, and a good spot to plan what to do next. And this plan involved shopping and beer.
Souvenirs, chocolate and sweets. Simon buying shoes? Okay, doing his mother proud. Then time for a local beer. Is it time for a beer review?
So we're in the aptly named James Beer Bar on the seafront here, and we've gone for a local Patagonian blonde beer. First taste?
Yay, let's try it.
Go for that. Beer review time.
Oh wow, that is really good.
Okay.
Nice thing to that. And look, got some monkey nuts with it as well.
There you go, bonus.
Yay.
Right, Simon has been shoe shopping.
I have.
What did you get, Si?
Bought some pair of trainers, really cheap. It's a lot cheaper than Buenos Aires here, which is really good. Actually quite cheap compared back to the UK as well, so I'm very impressed with that.
And we've also gone into a lovely bar.
Of course.
And the bar's name is?
James Beer.
James Beer. And now it's your first time trying.
First time tasting. Here we go. Right. It's a blonde beer, Patagonia blonde beer.
Oh, that's clean and fresh and zingy. It's got a bit of like a fruity taste to it. It's quite nice. Really good. Definitely 5 out of 5. Really refreshing.
And we enjoyed sitting out on the pavement, supping beer, catching up with folks at home and people watching. Really nice.
You enjoyed your day, Si?
I've actually really enjoyed our day here at Puerto Madryn. It's a really pleasant place. It's nice Esplanade Beach. Make it a beach day if you come in here. But it's a great beach. Done a bit of shopping, had a few beers, done a nice walk. Not spent too much money. It's been great. Getting back on board soon. I do wish we'd had longer in port, because that would have given us time to take one of the many excursions that are offered here, maybe out to see some of the sea lions or the penguins or whatever. Otherwise, if you do those, it does seem like you miss your day here in port, which is a real shame, because there's a lot to see here and it's really quite a nice city vibe.
So we better head back aboard the ship, but not before the iconic photo of Nettie in front of this striking monument to women on the beachfront.
We headed back along the pier. Shame we didn't get to see the sea lions. Hang on, look at these guys lying in the sun on the pier steps. Aren't they cute? And this one has come to play too. Wow, what a show. This one is quite the entertainer. We could watch this for hours. Look at that jellyfish. Glad we didn't do the swimming with sea lions trip with all those around.
Back aboard then, and some more beer and ice cream in the sun on the pool deck. Sometimes you have to keep going, and keep going we did. We kept going back to the bar, and before we knew it we were sailing away from Puerto Madryn. We had really liked this place. It was pretty, friendly and had plenty of character.
Our evening meal was in the Aqua main dining room. Si had a Kiev with mash, whilst I had a seafood pasta. Then chocolate cake and creme brulee for dessert.
Taking a walk on the promenade deck afterwards was lovely, and again an albatross joined us as we walked. Absolutely beautiful and a lasting memory from this trip.
As the sun began to set, we again enjoyed live music in our favourite bar.
Mojito bar?
No, Gatsby's of course.
And the wine flowed nicely before eventually sleep beckoned, and another wonderful day had been done.
Day 15 was another sea day, and so we again felt that we could lie in and get up late.
Well, it's our final sea day today. Yeah, it's the last day. This holiday is coming to an end. We had a really great time. We're unashamedly slobbing, I think is the plan today.
Yeah, we definitely had a slobbing this morning, didn't we?
The sun is out, it's warm, the
Gorgeous.
pool deck's open, the sun lounges are out.
Yay!
It's a day of sunbathing and cocktails and reading and food and
More food.
More food, yeah. Just a general day on a cruise, actually.
Yeah.
But we really enjoyed our holiday. We're in Montevideo tomorrow.
It's been absolutely amazing holiday, hasn't it?
Yeah, last port stop, Montevideo tomorrow, and then it's home back to the chilly UK.
Yeah, what's it, 16-hour flight home?
16-hour flight home.
Oh, no.
At any rate. Oh, well, thanks for joining us if you got this far. And, we'll update you on our adventures today and our time in Montevideo.
The weather was warm enough now for the pool deck to fully open, and we took breakfast on the pool deck itself in the sunshine. A tasty omelette was a great start to our day. It was nice to be in warmer climes, and we took the opportunity to bake in the sun a little.
Careful not to fall asleep, Si. You'll burn. Ah, too late. Be rude to wake him from such a deep slumber. Good job I brought after sun.
The pool deck was in a party mood, with fruit carving demonstrations and DJ Carl pumping out the dance hits, and again we grabbed the tasty burger for lunch. Later in the afternoon we started to pack our cases with all the warm clothes that we'd needed in Antarctica. We won't be needing those again on this trip.
The next port talk in the theatre on tomorrow's stop in Montevideo. Again, somewhere we had made no plans.
A quick bite in the buffet before this evening's show in the theatre, which was called Paradis. Hang on guys, what was that announcement?
We're not allowed to video this show that we're watching now, and the show is called
Paradis.
And so what we're going to do is we'll give a bit of a review at the end.
Show was followed by the end of cruise appreciation event for the ship's amazing crew, and truly well deserved it was. Thank you guys, you've been brilliant. Then back to our cabin to give our reviews on the main show, Paradis.
So over to our Cooks Explore show aficionado, Nettie, to give her review of Paradis.
Right, well I'm going to now give my review on Paradis. Well, I didn't really actually understand exactly what it was all going to be about. It was sort of seemed to be a bit all over the show. There was like some ones came out of a box, which seemed to be some sort of German type dancing. There was tap dancing, there was cabaret dancing, but we also had some of my favourite, the aerial dancers, who are amazing. I love them. They're very good at dancing. There's some good singing, but I think it was on a little loud side for me. But the costumes were amazing. I think it says they had over 100 costumes, different types of costumes. So I think it was very good. It's not one of my favourite shows because I didn't really understand exactly what it was all about, but it was very good singing and dancing, and I really enjoyed the aerials.
And now for the grumpy one. And when Nettie said that she was dragging me along to see a parody, I thought it was going to be funnier, to be honest, but it wasn't that funny at all. All joking aside, it was a bit confusing, and I think it took me a while to work out what it was all about. It's to do with some kind of cabaret club, and it was their take on what would go on in the cabaret club, although that didn't really become evident until the very last song, when they announced that this was club parody that they were in. In terms of the clubbing side of things, I did actually wonder whether it was back in a 90s rave club with all these very officious NCL entertainment style flashing lights. Everybody was trying to video the performance. I wish they'd just get over that issue. I wasn't guilty, by the way. We didn't video any of that. But they were flashing their torches all over the place, and they clearly didn't shut the door before people were coming. People were coming in after the show had started, and it was kind of a bit disorganized at the start. In terms of the show itself, as I said, it was very confusing, and at one stage I did wonder what the hell was going on and whether somebody had actually put an acid tablet in my pudding earlier on. All right, and then when they started playing, especially when the dubstep music coming on, I was thinking, wow, my God, what the hell was that all about? And then, when they started playing the Matrix music, I wondered what colour that tablet was. Was it red or was it blue? Who knows? Anyway, okay, look, all joking aside, talented performers. They are really gifted and they're very, very talented, but the show didn't make an awful lot of sense at all, and it was all over the shop, I thought. But I just wish they'd had better writers that would have put together a more of a considered and structured, performance, really. But Nettie loved it, so there you go. There's a result.
So we agreed to do both of our favourite bars tonight, and one of our least favourites too, Oceans, and that's because there was a brilliant guitarist playing there, so it would be rude not to. Cheers!
And tomorrow would see us in Uruguay in Montevideo, and this final day of the cruise had a lot to live up to. Day 16 started with a nice breakfast. So where are you today, Si?
So we're in our final port stop. We're in Montevideo this morning. It's a bit overcast. Rain is forecast, but it's quite warm. We have got a reasonable amount of time ashore. We've got about 7 hours ashore today. We're going to have a wander into town and see what's there to see. We find a bar, but very interesting this morning when we've docked in Montevideo, docked in the main harbour area, and there's a load of shipwrecks, and I'll turn the camera around and show you that view. Not what we expected to see when we arrived in Montevideo.
After breakfast, we eagerly disembarked the ship to explore the old town area, but the weather was somewhat soggy.
It was early in the morning, and we grabbed a tourist walking map from the booth on the port exit and followed the walking tour signs into the city. We set about following the suggested route. Most places were still shut though. There was some interesting street art to admire before we passed the Mercado de Puerto, and the surrounding colonial architecture was quite impressive.
As we walked into the old town, shops were slowly opening up, perhaps realising cruise passengers were coming ashore. A bit too early for cake, but they do look good. We walked further into the old town area, and more street art adorned the walls of residential apartments. So how has it been so far, guys?
It's about 10 o'clock, we're off the ship. We got out the port quite easily. Some helpful people with tourist maps, like all the walking routes, so we'll try and follow that. It takes around the old town area. Everything's pretty shut, apart from the sort of souvenir shops right down in the port area. It's Saturday. And it's Saturday morning and everything's still pretty shut. Town's really sleepy. There's a lot of dog poo on the streets as
What
well.
was it? It's 12 minutes past 10
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
in the
so
morning.
quite a lot of dog poo on the streets as well. So you've got to
Yeah,
watch where you
Got to
walk.
be careful.
Obviously, don't clear up after the dogs
No.
here.
And someone in particular has got to watch out.
Yeah, I have a habit of finding the dog mess on the street, so hopefully my poodar will be working well today, and we can avoid all the smelly stuff. But we're going to try and go up to Independence Square because apparently there's some nice stuff to see there.
Nice market as well, isn't there?
That's a nice market. We'll find that, and then we'll try and follow the route indicated on the tourist map. But there's a lot of police around, which is also good. You know, obviously trying to reassure tourists that that crime isn't an issue here, which is really nice to see. There's more police than tourists in some areas. So there you go. At any rate, we'll update you as we go around.
We continued the walking route on the map. Si, you don't seem happy.
Quite a bit of graffiti. Some of the street art's quite good, but the graffiti, not so. And the dog poo, definitely not.
It wasn't all bad, and some of the street art was really quite impressive. We soon found ourselves in Zabala Square with its statue of Bruno Mauricio de Zabala, a former Spanish governor of the area. And we walked onwards into the city now and found a pleasant craft market in Constitution Plaza, and there was a pretty fountain there too.
We're in Constitution Square at the moment. There's, if you look behind me there's a little market going on, and there's this beautiful fountain that's really nice there. It's quite lovely here.
We continued and eventually arrived at the city's centrepiece, Independence Square, with its key landmarks.
So we're just outside Independence Square, and the gate you can see behind us is apparently one of the original city gates from when the city was built. And the building, and the tall building in the background, was once the tallest building in all of South America for many years, apparently. We haven't really enjoyed the dodge the dog mess game that the city's given us this morning, but we're about halfway around the walking map that we picked up at the port. And it's okay. The Constitution Square was quite nice, but hopefully Independence Square will be even nicer.
The old city gate was quite impressive, and we passed through into Independence Square with its equally impressive monuments. Now that's a grand statue. Who's that person, Si?
The big monument behind us is a statue of Jose Artigas. Forgive me if I've pronounced that incorrectly, but he's well venerated here as he led the resistance against Spain. And actually underneath the statue is his mausoleum, which you can go down and visit if you so want to. And there are military guards down there guarding the mausoleum as well, supposedly. One of the things we've noticed is how much Latin America does sort of celebrate its freedom from the colonial powers, particularly in Argentina, where we were there, in Buenos Aires, and also around the other cities as well. There's always something saying that, well, we're not ruled by the colonial powers anymore. Puerto was different though, because it had all that Welsh connections, and it really celebrated the Welsh settlers there. But so generally speaking, where we've been, the resistance against colonialism has been really well celebrated. It's quite nice to see as well. People proud of their country.
What's that tall building then?
So the Salvo Palace, as it's called, is about 272 feet high, and it's Art Deco style. Apparently you can go in and go up. We'll have a look at that, but from what I can see you have to buy tickets in advance online.
You going to explore Salvo Palace then?
So it does look as though you can go into the Salvo Palace. There's a sort of a desk there. It does look like time tickets with a guide though, and you can only go in with a guide at the time that you've bought, and you're not allowed to take photos or videos or anything like that.
No.
And it looks like they take you around the palace and the interior. There's a rooftop viewing platform.
And it includes a tango museum as well.
There's a tango museum as well there. Not that desperate to do it, but it's there if you are interested.
So there has to be more to this city than what's on the tourist map. Should we find a coffee shop and make a plan? And help with our dilemma arrived in the form of the brilliant staff at the Flora Cafe, who gave us a suggestion on how to spend our remaining time in the city. Thanks ladies, and it was great advice too.
So what do they recommend then, guys?
Right, we're on Las Ramblas, which is the big main esplanade in Montevideo. We were recommended by some lovely ladies in the Flora Cafe, which we've just visited. That's the place, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. They were absolutely lovely, really helpful to us. and I had hot chocolate and a cookie, and it was amazing.
Really recommend that place. It's off the beaten track. It's off the tourist map. It's called Flora, and the staff really friendly, and the coffee and cake amazing. And they recommended we come down to Las Ramblas and take a stroll on the Esplanade, and we can see why. Actually, it's really quite nice down here. Lovely. It's a bit windy, a bit racing, but it's actually quite a nice spot.
So we headed down to Montevideo's famous Las Ramblas, and this 18-kilometre seafront esplanade is a magnet for locals who use it for fun and recreation of all sorts. Sunbathing, fishing, exercise. There are great sea views too, and this was wonderful just to simply stroll along and soak up the vibe. And there's plenty of wildlife to watch.
It was a brilliant stroll by the sea, and we came to a lovely beach area too. Do you like this place now, guys?
Well, this is a real contrast to what we had earlier on. This is lovely down here. What the girls in the cafe recommended, they were spot on.
It's absolutely gorgeous. You're walking along, there's lots of activities going on, there's people working out, there's cyclists, there's roller skates, there's a skate park we've gone past. And now look where we are, this absolutely stunning beach.
It's gorgeous, and this is obviously where the locals come. It's their recreational space, and it's really quite pleasant down here, and a real marked contrast to where all the tourists are back in the old town. And there's a lot less dog mess here as well. So, you know, this was a really good recommendation. So thank you, girls in the cafe.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, really enjoyed this. It's a lovely, pleasant walk down here too. And so we're just going to have a mooch round here. We're told that there's a bar somewhere up there. We might try and head for that, see if we can get a beer in there. And then obviously it'll be time for us to go back to the ship. But we're so glad we took their recommendation. Thank you very much.
Don't forget, we need to get our souvenirs.
Oh yeah, we need souvenirs too. Forgot about that. Okay.
Don't forget the fridge magnet.
Got to get the fridge magnet. Okay. All right.
And what a great beach this was. Not busy with beautiful golden sand, and all we needed now was a good beach bar that served great local beer.
Well, that wasn't very hard to find now, was it? And the beer came in 1 litre bottles too. I can see where this is going.
Well, we've arrived here. This is a great spot. Great recommendation. We've ordered a local beer, and they've given us this kind of 1 litre, or 1.5 litre bottle of Patricia Lager. It's come in an ice bucket as well. I've never had that before, and it is rather tasty.
Great advice from the girls in the cafe, and this was like a different city altogether, and so nice. A real far cry from the more run-down areas in the old town.
Still, we had to walk back, and the beers had made this even more pleasant. What's that? Parrots? Oh no, not Nettie Attenborough again. Come on, there's souvenirs to buy before we have to be back on board the Star. So we walked all the way back into the old town, past the old theatre and Independence Square, and back towards the port and the streets that were so sleepy and just a little bit smelly first thing in the morning.
But as we got closer to the port, these same streets had come to life with street vendors and cafe seating, giving it a different vibe. And they were cleaner too. So where are you heading, Si?
Down at the main market, the port. Again, we're going to go in and have a look to see what this is like. It looks a busy place.
The Mercado de Puerto was on the way back to the ship, and even though we thought this would be a tourist trap, it had been separately recommended to us, so we thought we ought to check it out. And this former railway station is now filled with tourists eating street foods and buying souvenirs. It is quite nice though.
That's a big sausage. Be rude not to, I suppose, and we hadn't eaten a meal since breakfast.
Wow, look at that sausage, all for you, Si.
Not all for me, that's a big sausage.
So we sat and ate locally made sausage and fries, of course. It was really tasty. Then back aboard Norwegian Star. This was the final night of the cruise, so packing to finish with and boarding passes for our flight home to download. Thankfully, our travel agent was one step ahead and had already emailed them to us. However, Nettie was beginning to get the sniffles, so a low-key final night aboard it was.
So we are on our final night here on Norwegian Star, and it's very sleepy up here on board deck. Nobody about, is there?
No.
Really good. People must be packing, I reckon.
I think so, yeah, we've done our packing.
Done our packing.
Had a little snack, haven't we?
Had a snack. Now it's time for one for the road. Cheers.
Non-alcoholic. We've had enough alcohol this week.
And we've had a great 2 weeks. It's been brilliant.
And as we sipped our final drinks, we were sad that this adventure was ending.
It was day 17 and we had docked early in Buenos Aires. We were all packed, so we grabbed breakfast, and we were fortuitous with our allotted disembarkation time, which was based on deck.
The ship was again super efficient and actually disembarked us ahead of schedule too.
When called, we disembarked, got into the port bus, collected our waiting luggage from the port terminal building and went through security scanning before we found ourselves outside at the taxi rank.
This whole disembarkation process had been incredibly easy and simple, and we were again impressed with NCL's efficiency.
Our pre-booked taxi arrived a little early also, so the gods of fortune were also looking favourably on us, and we soon found ourselves at Buenos Aires airport queuing to check in our luggage.
The airport experience was also excellent and easy, with minimal queuing and a well-provided passenger experience. And a good canine experience too. Did you know this was a thing? You can take your dog on the plane. Look, and there's dog relief area. Wow.
Some food and drink before we boarded our British Airways flight to London, stopping first at Rio de Janeiro. This was a total flight time of 16 hours and like any long haul wasn't the easiest. And like the outbound journey, a shortage of refreshment was the main detracting feature.
Back in the UK, we made our way back to our car and drove home reflecting on what an amazing adventure we had just had.
And we had learned a lot on this trip, not just about Antarctica, but also about the wonderful people of South America, their friendliness, but also some of their struggles too.
So we learned that South America and Antarctica are a very great distance apart. It's a long way down there, and the Drake Passage is an unpredictable sea, and conditions can change so quickly.
No wonder the early explorers called it the Great Graveyard.
However, our captain had skillfully navigated us away from a terrible storm and kept us in a safe, if not choppy, waters.
We had experienced both Drake Lake and Drake Shake, and at times the wave heights were peaking at around about 6 metres.
Still, this was well within the capabilities of the excellent Norwegian Star and its hard-working crew, who continually tried to ensure all on board had a great experience.
A lifelong travel goal completed too, and we just loved this trip.
So should you consider a trip like this, Antarctica? It's a place that you have to experience to really understand it, in our view, and not being able to set foot on shore didn't lessen our joy of seeing the mountains, icebergs, glaciers and abundant wildlife.
But this trip was so much more than Antarctica, and that was the bonus we hadn't expected. From the vibrant, colourful culture of Buenos Aires, to the majestic beauty of the mountains of Tierra del Fuego, to the very British nature of the Falkland Islands so very far away from home, and the beach life of Puerto Madryn and Montevideo. This trip had given us a lot, even though a lot of the time was spent on board the ship. Thank you for watching and sharing in our experiences. If you've liked this video, why not drop us a comment in the box below? We always reply. And if you want to see more fun like this, why not subscribe? Thank you.